Chapter 236. I know what happened in between. A second after Shi Yao said those words, Jiang Yu, who had just finished washing up, walked out of the bedroom. Miss Liang took Yao Yao's phone and gave Han Jing a call. She told him that Yao Yao was drunk and asked if he could come over to take care of her. However, Han Jing felt that it wouldn't be appropriate for him to come over in the middle of the night, so he sent me a message. As Jiang Yu spoke, she took out her phone and placed it on the table. On the screen was the content of the message between Shi Yao and Han Jing. Jiang Yu didn't rush to speak. Instead, she waited for a moment to make sure that Jiang Wangue had finished reading the message before continuing. Han Jing is a gentleman, so he told me about it. If he wasn't a gentleman, he would have come straight over. Yao Yao just drank a little bit of wine, and for some inexplicable reason, she got drunk. Jiang Yu purposely emphasized the words a little bit and inexplicable reason before continuing. Then wouldn't Yao Yao's innocence be ruined if a man and a woman were to share a room together? Hearing the main point, Lin Jiayi immediately turned a sharp gaze toward Liang Mumu and asked, how could Yao Yao get so drunk after drinking a little bit of wine? Did you tamper with the wine? The confident Liang Mumu didn't expect things to develop in such a manner. She shook her head in a daze and said, no, I didn't. I didn't tamper with Yao Yao's wine, so, you admit that you took Yao Yao to drink with you last night? Yao Yao didn't lie, but you have been lying all along. Jiang Wangue interjected again. His words were as sharp as ever, and he went straight to the point. Liang Mumu didn't think that she would actually expose herself. She opened her mouth, but no words came out. Jiang Wangue seemed to think that there was no need to waste any more time here, so she grabbed her bag and stood up. All right, I have a client to meet at 10, so I'll be leaving first. Lin Jiayi also stood up, but she didn't forget to bring Shi Yao along with her. Let's go, Yao Yao. I'll send you and your classmates back to school. When Jiang Wangue passed by Liang Mumu, the latter suddenly spoke up pitifully, Auntie Lin. Jiang Wangue halted her footsteps. She lowered her gaze to look at the tips of her heels before turning to Liang Mumu and saying, I admit that you're smart, but you didn't put your intelligence to good use. That's why your intelligence has turned into stupidity. Putting aside the fact that your little trick today didn't work, even if you did, Yao Yao's reputation would be ruined and she would no longer be Jiej's fiancée. Do you think that you'll have a chance to get close to Jiej? If that's what you think, then let me tell you clearly that you're wrong. Not only are you wrong, you're gravely wrong. Have you ever heard of the saying, do not wash one's dirty linen in public? Now that something like this has happened, it is our Lin family that has been humiliated. Do you think I will allow someone who knows about our Lin family's dirty linen to continue staying in Beijing? No, I won't. Not only will I make Yao Yao leave Beijing, I will also drive you out of Beijing. I will never allow you to appear again. After parting ways with Jiang Wangue and Lin Jiayi, Jiang Yu immediately asked, Yao Yao, is that Lin Jiej's mother? She's really a domineering female CEO. The words she said to Liang Mumu before she left were really cool. Shi Yao didn't respond to Jiang Yu's words. Jiang Yu continued praising Jiang Wangue and Lin Jiayi. Chapter 237. Just as Jiang Yu was at her wit's end, she finally recalled the matter at hand. Yao Yao, how did you know that Liang Mumu would frame you yesterday? You even gave me a call in advance and told me to pretend to be Han Jing if I received a message from her that she was using your phone to look for Han Jing. You even told He Tian to borrow a set of Han Jing's clothes so that I could wear it to look for you. Shi Yao, I guessed it. Ah. Jiang Yu was taken aback. She reached out to touch Shi Yao's forehead and asked, you don't have a fever. Why are you spouting nonsense? I'm serious. Shi Yao shot a glance at Jiang Yu. It's really just a guess. I'm just informing you in advance just in case. Jiang Yu, so, you already knew that Liang Mumu was plotting against you before last night? Shi Yao replied with a soft, Jiang Yu, alright then. I can understand that you saw through Liang Mumu's disguise, but how did you know how Liang Mumu would deal with you? Shi Yao, no matter what, I've known her for quite a few years now, so I do have some understanding of her. Also, she mentioned Han Jing in front of Grandpa Lin. Jiang Yu shook her head. I still don't get it. Left with no choice, Shi Yao explained, think about it. If you want to ruin a person's reputation, especially when it's a woman you're engaged to, what's the most direct way to do it? Is it to catch her in the act? Jiang Yu nodded. Shi Yao continued, that's why Liang Mumu would definitely start from there. But no one is a fool. Even if the other party is willing to catch her in the act, isn't that so? What if she's unwilling? She'll have to either get her drunk or drug her. As for the adulterer, she'll have to choose Han Jing. You should understand this, right? Jiang Yu pondered for a moment before shaking her head. I don't really understand. Shi Yao rolled her eyes speechlessly. Think about it. She hinted to Grandpa Lin that there's something going on between me and Han Jing. Oh. Jiang Yu nodded in realization. Speaking of which, Liang Mumu sure is sinister. In order to frame you, she has been setting you up since a long time ago. That's right. Shi Yao paused for a moment before adding. It's been a long time. It was so long that it was the night she kissed Lin Jiej at Golden Resplendence because of a game. It was so long that it was the night she bumped into Lin Jiej in the elevator of SKP Mall after deciding to cancel her engagement with Lin Jiej. It was so long that it was the first time she passed a candy to her and introduced herself. I'm Liang Mumu. What about you? What's it called? Some things, from the beginning, were fake. So, from the day they met, they were destined to separate. Yao Yao. Oblivious to Shi Yao's reaction, Jiang Yu asked once more, there's still something I don't understand. Why didn't you call Han Jing directly and have him inform me when he receives Liang Mumu's message? Why did you change Han Jing's number to mine? Yu, are you serious? Seeing Jiang Yu nod in agreement, Shi Yao explained with a helpless look on her face, are you dumb? Putting aside the fact that I've already severed my ties with Senior Han, even if we were still friends, I wouldn't ask him for help. It's simply too dangerous. What if he comes by himself without telling you? Chapter 238. Jiang Yu nodded vehemently. You're right, that makes sense. So, you weren't drunk at all last night? Shi Yao shot Jiang Yu a, are you kidding me, look. How could I possibly be drunk? I remember telling you that the bowl-smashing wine in Shi and was so much that the people around me changed several times. So, everything that happened in the bar last night was just an act by her. No, to be more precise, Liang Mumu was putting on an act last night, so Shi Yao decided to put on an act together with her. One's life depended on acting, and there was no one in the world who wasn't an actress. But in the end, just as they were about to reach the dormitory building, Shi Yao still chose to part ways with Jiang Yu. Lin Jiej was busy with his project last night, and he only went to sleep at 5 in the morning. Barely a few hours later, he was awoken by the sound of a message. Grumpily, he picked up his phone and glanced at the screen. It was a WeChat message from Lin Jiej, but he tossed his phone aside and went back to sleep without even looking at it. Just as he closed his eyes, a series of notifications sounded from his phone once more. Lin Jiej picked up his phone and was about to switch it off when he saw the word Yao Yao on the screen. A slight frown appeared on his forehead, and his drowsiness instantly cleared up. Yawning, he tapped into WeChat. Lin Jiej, there's something that I'm sure will interest you. Do you want to know? Lin Jiej, HM. You're ignoring me. Or you don't want to know. Lin Jiej, are you sure you don't want to know? Lin Jie, are you sure? Lin Jie, alright, forget it. It's related to Yao Yao anyway. Lin Jie, it's really related to Yao Yao. Lin Jie, sure Yao. Lin Jie looked through the long string of messages that Lin Jie had sent him, and he impatiently tapped on the screen and replied, ? Lin Jie instantly replied with a symbol, yen. Are you trying to scam me out of my money? Lin Jie, 88, Lin Jie, 88 isn't enough. I want at least 888. Who's bargaining with you? He's saying goodbye to me. Lin Jie put down his phone and ignored Lin Jie. Lin Jie, I'll give you a discount then. 788, Lin Jie, 688. Lin Jie, I really can't go any lower. I'm telling you right now, I won't tell you even a single cent less. Lin Jie, then, 588. Lin Jie, I'm telling you right now, I won't be lowering the price any further. I'm a man of integrity. 488, quick, deal. F***ck, not even 488 yuan. Do you want to know or not? Ha, serves you right that your wife was almost slept with by someone, serves you right that you almost wore a green hat, serves you right that you have a grassland on your head, serves you right, serves you right. Almost slept with someone. Green hat. Verdant grassland. Lin Jie abruptly shot up from his bed and asked, what do you mean? Seeing that Lin Jie wasn't replying to him, he quickly transferred the money to her. Lin Jie swiftly accepted the money and sent a message over. Liang Mumu asked Yao Yao out last night. Seeing that Lin Jie didn't say anything else after sending that message, Lin Jie sent another message, and then? Lin Jie, 488. I'm done with one sentence. You'll have to transfer more money to me before I can continue. Lin Jie gritted his teeth furiously, but he still transferred the money to her. Yao Yao was drunk, she was sent to the hotel. Chapter 239. Yao Yao was drunk under the table, she was sent to the hotel. Can this even count as two sentences? Lin Jie, who had already spun 488 twice, couldn't take it anymore and typed, can you please finish your sentence in one sentence? There was no response from the other party. Lin Jie spun 488 once more. After accepting the message, Lin Jie replied with an okay gesture before falling silent once more. Okay, hurry up and say the next sentence. It was only a short 30 seconds, but Lin Jie, who was desperate to know what had happened to Shi Yao, felt that time was passing extremely slowly. Seeing that Lin Jie still hadn't replied, he couldn't help but rush her. In order to express how anxious he was, he sent a series of question marks. Lin Jie replied almost instantaneously. Thinking that she was finally done with her story, Lin Jie quickly lowered his head to take a look, only to see the same number of S as his. What the heck is this? To avoid wasting time, Lin Jie swiftly typed out a message, I just transferred the money to you, and you accepted it. You still owe me a sentence now. Fearing that Lin Jie would go back on her words, Lin Jie took a screenshot and circled the transfer and receipt records in red before sending it over to Lin Jie. Lin Jie swiftly replied, I've already replied to you, so please continue to send me the money. Following which, Lin Jie also sent a screenshot to Lin Jie. On the screenshot, there was also a line circled in red. It was the okay she had sent after the receipt of the money. Okay, counts as well. Who the heck are you from? Do you only have money in your eyes? Just as Lin Jie was berating Lin Jie furiously, another message popped up on his screen. It was another screenshot, and Lin Jie circled the yen and I've already replied to you, so please continue to send me the money. Do you see that? I'm giving these two sentences to you for free. I didn't charge you any money, including this sentence, the previous screenshot, and the one before that. Do a good job of calculating how much money I've taken from you. A cold sneer appeared on Lin Jiej's lips. Thank you, your entire family. Lin Jie, you're welcome. Lin Jie, this and the previous sentence are free for you as well. Lin Jiej couldn't even be bothered to respond to Lin Jie with a hee. Instead, he spun to 488 twice. Lin Jie didn't hesitate to send him 2 messages in a row. Liang Mumu took Yao Yao's phone and sent a message to Han Jing. Early the next morning, Liang Mumu invited me and my mother to the hotel to catch them in the act. The heck, did Lin Jie learn how to write novels? The card's ability to attract cards was so amazing. Worried about Soft Bun's condition, Lin Jiej continued transferring money, and just like before, he made 2 consecutive transfers. Lin Jie, when we rang the doorbell, Yao Yao had just woken up, and she was only wearing a bathrobe. Liang Mumu said that it's Mother's Day today, so Yao Yao specially prepared a surprise for her mother. After which, Liang Mumu urged Shi Yao to quickly wash up, and after Shi Yao came out, we had breakfast together. Then, when I went to the toilet, Liang Mumu said that she wanted to use the toilet too. So, Liang Mumu went to the toilet in Yao Yao's hotel room, and that's when Liang Mumu started screaming. Chapter 240. After receiving the money, Lin Jie replied. Then, Mom and I went to the bedroom. Yao Yao, who hadn't finished her breakfast yet, was the last to follow us. We saw a shocking sight, a pair of men's shoes on the floor. Men's shoes. Lin Jiej couldn't help but tighten his grip on his phone. The shoes were very dirty. Liang Mumu said that they couldn't be yours, so she claimed that they belonged to Han Jing. You know Mom very well, she's the epitome of a strong woman. She said that she wanted to lift up the bed sheets to take a look. Yao Yao said no, so I stopped Mom, but no one stopped Liang Mumu. After that, Liang Mumu took the bed sheets away. Damn it. It always ends at the most classic place. Lin Jiej transferred 5 sums of money this time around. Lin Jie accepted all of them. Then, we saw a girl who looked like a man but had a poached egg on her chest, a girl. Lin Jiej heaved a sigh of relief. After that, Liang Mumu's scheme failed. Han Jing is a gentleman, so he didn't come and got Yao Yao's roommate instead. Do you know how scared I was back then? I believed that Yao Yao wasn't that kind of person, but I was afraid that she would be framed. It's fortunate that Yao Yao is a lucky girl. It was a close shave, turned the crisis into safety. So, she didn't want to give him a refund after explaining the matter, so she decided to use 2 idioms to swallow the money he had transferred to her. Lin Jiej chuckled softly before putting down his phone and heading to the bathroom to wash up. But halfway through his shower, he suddenly recalled Lin Jie's words about a girl with a poached egg on her chest. Does that mean that the girl was sleeping naked? And on the same bed as Soft Bun at that? What do you mean by I was almost cuckolded? I've already been cuckolded, alright. I've never slept naked with Soft Bun before, but someone else beat me to it. The more Lin Jiej thought about it, the more stifled he felt. But when he came out of the bathroom, the first thing he did was search for Shi Yao's phone number and give her a call. Shi Yao had said that Liang Mumu was her good friend. Back then, he had wanted to warn her about Liang Mumu, but he didn't have the heart to say it out of fear that she would be upset if she learned of her good friend's true colors. Now that her good friend had done such a thing to her, she must be feeling awful, right? The phone rang for a long time, but no one answered. Lin Jiej tried calling Shi Yao 2 more times, but there was still no answer. The worry in his heart grew heavier and heavier. He sent a message to Shi Yao, but seeing that there was no reply, he switched on his laptop and hacked into the school's network. He took Shi Yao's dormitory room's landline and dialed a number. It was a female student who picked up the call. Upon hearing that he was looking for Shi Yao, she calmly replied with a Shi Yao isn't around, before hanging up. She wasn't in the dormitory. She had classes tomorrow, so she shouldn't have gone home. So was she alone outside now? Could it be that she's hiding somewhere, feeling sad or crying in secret? As this thought flashed across Lin Jie's mind, the image of Shi Yao's tearful face surfaced in his mind, and he felt as if something was gripping his heart tightly, causing him to suffocate in pain. Without any hesitation, he grabbed his wallet and phone and left the dormitory room. Lin Jie borrowed an electric scooter from the dormitory room next door and searched around the vicinity of the school. The midday sun was very hot, and his clothes were wet layer by layer. He called her a few more times, but no one answered. Chapter 241. Time slowly trickled by, and just as the sun was setting in the west and the entire city was dyed crimson, Lin Jie, who was still unable to contact Shi Yao, stopped his car by the roadside and gave Lin Jie a call. The phone rang once before it was hung up. Then, the phone vibrated in his palm, and a message appeared on the screen. Lin Jie, I'm accompanying Mom to meet a client. Lin Jie pondered for a few seconds before typing, do you have any close friends? Even though Lin Jie couldn't be considered as a girl, she should still be able to understand the thoughts of a girl better than him. Lin Jie instantly replied, yes. A second later, Lin Jie replied, my very, very good friend is Money. Lin Jie moment later, Lin Jie typed a few times on the keyboard and asked, can you give me a breathing creature? Alright then. Lin Jie. I'll take the panda then. It's a national treasure, and it looks like it's worth more than money. He shouldn't have come looking for her. Lin Jie, restriction. Only one person. Lin Jie, why don't you just ask the person I'm closest to? A creature that can still breathe. Who taught you Chinese? Lin Jie suddenly felt an urge to put away his phone. Lin Jie, the person I'm closest to is naturally little cutie Yao Yao. Soft bun. Lin Jie didn't want to use soft bun as an example, so he asked, is there anything else? Lin Jie, of course, there's only one of them. If there were two of them, would they still be considered as close friends? If it was you, could it be that there were two people you loved the most in your heart? You can be a two-timing playboy, but I can't. I'm single-minded and focused. Alright, he accepted the first part, but what the hell was with the second part? Dedicated. Is this the word I should use for soft bun? Lin Jie was extremely displeased, but he still went straight to the point, fine. If Yao Yao betrays you, what will you do? It took quite a while before Lin Jie's message finally came in. The other party is typing a message. Lin Jie looked at it expectantly, and he soon saw a sentence, Yao Yao will never betray me. Lin Jie, hypothetically. Lin Jie, there's no such hypothesis. Lin Jie, I trust Yao Yao's character. Lin Jie, do you not trust Yao Yao's character? Lin Jie, that has nothing to do with whether I believe it or not. Like I said, it's hypothetical. Do you know what hypothetical means? Hypothetically refers to what if, a baseless imagination. Lin Jie, the other party refuses to participate in your hypothesis. Lin Jie gritted his teeth. Then why did you ask me to play the role of the Empress and marry you when we were young? Wasn't that just a hypothetical game? Lin Jie, are you the same as Yao Yao? You can assume whatever you want, Yao Yao can't mean can't. Lin Jie brought out his trump card, name a price. How much are you willing to pay for this hypothesis? Lin Jie, it doesn't matter how much you pay. F*CK, you're unmoved by force or persuasion. Lin Jie exited WeChat and continued calling Shi Yao. He called 3 times, but no one picked up. Chapter 242. Lunatic. Who in the world would want to set her up? She has a face that people are willing to put in so much effort to set her up. Lin Jiej continued calling Shi Yao, but before he could make the call, another message from Lin Jie appeared on the screen. You sure are treacherous. Treacherous to the point that it sends shivers down my spine. I'll leave you to the cold then. Ignoring Lin Jie's message, Lin Jiej dialed Shi Yao's number. The phone rang for a long time, but no one picked up. Just as Lin Jiej thought that Shi Yao wouldn't pick up his call, Shi Yao's voice suddenly sounded from the other end. Hello? Before the call connected, Lin Jiej had many things he wanted to ask Shi Yao. Are you alright? Are you feeling particularly sad? But when she picked up the call, he found himself at a loss for words. Then, Shi Yao's voice sounded once more, Lin Jiej. Lin Jiej blinked his eyes in confusion before asking, why haven't you picked up the call? Shi Yao, I've switched my phone to silent mode, so I haven't been looking at it. I just took a glance at it earlier. Lin Jiej heaved a sigh of relief. So that's the case, that. Noticing that Lin Jiej wasn't saying anything, Shi Yao spoke up once more. Is there something you need from me? Why did you call me so many times? For a moment, Lin Jiej didn't know what to say. Shi Yao's tone sounded normal. If he were to say that his sister had told her about Liang Mumu, would that expose her sadness? Lin Jiej fell into deep thought for a very long time. When he heard Shi Yao calling out Lin Jiej through the phone once more, he abruptly blurted out, Don't you still owe me a meal? After saying those words, Lin Jiej really wanted to bite his tongue off. What a pig's brain. Can't you find a better excuse? On the other end of the call, Shi Yao swiftly replied, Oh, I didn't forget about it. You're calling me to ask for that meal back, right? Since I don't have anything on tonight, I'll treat you to a meal. Lin Jiej really didn't want to admit it, so he could only force himself to say, all right then. Shi Yao, I'll choose a place then. Shall we meet there? Why don't you tell me where you are? I'll pick you up. Lin Jiej glanced at the electric scooter that he had borrowed, and after some thought, he realized that it could still be considered a car. Thus, he said, I have a car. I see. All right then. Shi Yao replied. After which, she replied. I'm at the entrance of KFC. There were hundreds of KFC in Beijing. How could he find her in front of a KFC? Lin Jiej, other than KFC, are there any other landmarks? Let me take a look. A second later, Shi Yao replied, and McDonald's, it's as good as not saying anything at all. Lin Jiej was rendered speechless. Seeing that Lin Jiej wasn't saying anything, Shi Yao added, other than McDonald's, there's also a Häagen-Dazs next to it, and right next to Häagen-Dazs is a little Dien. Their milk tea is really delicious, and it's almost dinner time, but there's still a long queue. Lady, are your so-called landmarks all food? Chapter 243. You're soft bun, so you have the final say. Lin Jiej replied, sure. Lin Jiej paused for a moment before adding, take a picture of the road and send it to me. Shi Yao, sure, no problem. After hanging up the call, 30 seconds later, Shi Yao sent over the picture she had taken. Lin Jiej tapped on Open University, and a row of restaurants came into view. Is food always the only thing a glutton can see? If I were to stick snacks all over my body, would soft bun stare at me unblinkingly? With this thought in mind, Lin Jiej zoomed in on the picture, and finally, he saw a landmark building. Only then did he figure out where Shi Yao was. To get to Shi Yao's place, he would have to pass by the school. Lin Jiej pondered for a moment before calling his chauffeur to have him wait for him at the entrance of the school. It was a weekend, so Shuryao's location wasn't too bad. It wasn't a gathering spot, so the traffic was smooth. Roughly 20 minutes later, Lin Jiej arrived at the Indian restaurant that Shuryao had mentioned. Before he could even park his car, he had already caught sight of Shuryao's silhouette through the car window. She was still queuing up, and there was only one person in front of her. Lin Jiej parked his car by the roadside, grabbed his phone, got out, and walked over to Shuryao. As soon as he arrived by her side, he heard her sweet voice to the cashier, 2 large cups of milk green tea, with a milk cap. The cashier swiftly placed the order for Shuryao. That'll be a total of 40 renminbi. All right. Shuryao replied as she lowered her head to take out her wallet. However, before she could reach her wallet, Lin Jiej had already fished out a 100 renminbi bill from his pocket and passed it to the cashier. Take mine. Shuryao was taken aback. She turned to look at Lin Jiej and said, we agreed that I'll treat you to milk tea, it's fine. Lin Jiej replied. He took the change and the bill from the cashier before heading to the counter by the side. Shuryao followed behind Lin Jiej. As it was only 40 renminbi, Shuryao didn't haggle over it with Lin Jiej. Nevertheless, she still thanked him. Lin Jiej didn't say a word, but his gaze kept darting to Shuryao's face. Throughout the entire process, he was discreetly assessing her expression. She looked no different from usual. Her face, which rarely wore makeup, was white and clean, and her eyes were as clear as ever. However, if one were to look closely, one would be able to see that she was still in low spirits. Was he still affected by Liang Mumu? It seemed to be normal. The truth was always easy to say, but difficult to do. It was said that they parted on good terms, that they shouldn't force it if they couldn't get it, and that they should cut the Gordian knot after betrayal. But when it came to realizing this truth, who wouldn't feel sad and sad? Some things, some people, in the end, still needed time to calm down. After a while, the milk tea was ready. Lin Jiej grabbed the milk tea and got into the car with Shuryao. After Shuryao fastened her seatbelt, Lin Jiej took out a cup of milk tea and inserted a straw into it before passing it over to her. What would you like to eat? Shuryao took the milk tea and thanked him before asking, what do you want to eat? Lin Jiej, I'm fine with anything. Lin Jiej paused for a moment before adding, you're the one treating, so you have the final say. Chapter 244. Lin Jiej didn't have much of a tolerance for spicy food, so he nodded without any hesitation and replied, sure. Shuryao passed the phone over to Lin Jiej and said, let's head to Shu Garden then. This is the address. Born and raised in Beijing, Lin Jiej had a rough idea of where the restaurant was with just a glance. He blinked his eyes to indicate that he understood the address before starting the car. Along the way, Lin Jiej seemed to be focused on driving with his eyes focused on the road ahead, but in truth, his mind was spinning non-stop. Even though he had found an excuse to say that she owed him a meal, he didn't really intend to make her treat him. But what could he do to make her pay the bill without making a single sound? Just as they were about to reach the restaurant, Lin Jiej glanced at Shuryao's bag through the rearview mirror. If he were to hide her bag, she wouldn't be able to pay the bill. But her bag was too big, so it wouldn't be easy to hide it, right? Besides, she was definitely going to look for her bag when she got out of the car. So, this idea was definitely not going to work. Lin Jiej raised his hand to cover his lips before turning his attention to Shuryao's purse. Given how big her bag was, she would definitely be paying attention to it at all times, but the same couldn't be said for her purse. Lin Jiej thought for a moment before driving to the outermost side of the road. After finding the nearest exit, he drove off the main road and turned into an alley. The alley was filled with cars and bicycles, making it extremely difficult to drive on. After driving for a distance, the road ahead became too narrow for his car to pass, so Lin Jiej had no choice but to reverse and drive out of the alley. After reversing for a certain distance, he began circling around the same road, as if he couldn't get out of there. One moment, he was driving forward, and the next moment, he was driving backward. After repeating this process several times, as if he was at his wit's end, he turned to Shi Yao with an apologetic look and asked, "Can I trouble you to keep an eye on the road for me?" "Sure, sure." Shi Yao didn't think that there was anything wrong with it at all, so she nodded and got out of the car. Lin Jiej rolled down the car window. He could have easily reversed out of the alley, but he kept asking, "Can I go on the right? Can I go on the left? Is it okay for me to do this?" Under Shi Yao's assistance and guidance, Lin Jiej successfully retreated to the entrance of the alleyway. After which, he said, "Move back a little further. I'm afraid that I might accidentally bump into you." When he saw that Shi Yao had really followed his instructions and retreated roughly 10 meters away, he swiftly reached his hand into Shi Yao's bag, which was on the passenger seat. The first thing he touched was a packet of jelly beans. The second time was Shi Yao's phone. The third time, he touched an apple. Apple. Doesn't she think it's too heavy? Embarrassed, Lin Jiej tossed the apple back into his bag and continued searching. Eventually, he felt something soft, but he couldn't tell what it was. Out of curiosity, he took it out to take a closer look. Despite its colorful appearance, he was still able to recognize it. It was a sanitary pad that only women would use. Lin Jiej's ears reddened a little as he reversed the car with one hand while reaching into his bag with the other. After feeling around for a few energy bars, he finally found a very small wallet. Did she intentionally make such a small wallet so as to conserve space in her bag? With such a thought in mind, Lin Jiej unhesitatingly tossed Shi Yao's wallet under the passenger seat. Chapter 245. With this thought in mind, Lin Jiej unhesitatingly tossed Shi Yao's wallet under the passenger seat. After making sure that the wallet was well hidden, he reversed the car to Shi Yao's side and unlocked the door. Shi Yao got into the car, and Lin Jiej calmly drove to the entrance of the restaurant. After parking the car, Lin Jiej waited for Shi Yao to get out with her bag before unbuckling his seatbelt and alighting as well. After entering the restaurant, a waiter led the two of them to an empty table. Lin Jiej caught sight of 2 QR codes pasted on the wall of the restaurant, one for Alipay and the other for WeChat. Does this place support Alipay and WeChat? So, it's useless even if I hide my wallet. I'm even going to hide my phone along with it. Damn, I have nothing to do. Why is society developing so fast? Lin Jiej calmly pulled out a chair and sat down. At the same time, he raised his head to look at Shi Yao's phone. As the two of them were sitting face to face, Lin Jiej could clearly see that the battery on the top right corner of Shi Yao's phone had turned red. This is a sign that she's running out of battery. Lin Jiej lowered his gaze as he contemplated for a moment. Then, he turned to the waiter standing by the side and asked calmly, "Can I order now?" The waiter passed the menu over with a smile. "Yes." Lin Jiej took the menu and pushed it toward Shi Yao. "I'm not a picky eater, so you can order." Without much hesitation, Shi Yao began ordering the dishes. From time to time, she would ask Lin Jiej, "Can I?" Lin Jiej nodded calmly. Halfway through Shi Yao's order, he took out his phone, tapped into WeChat, found Xia Shangzhou, and sent a question mark. Then, he placed his phone back on the table and continued watching Shi Yao order. Roughly a minute later, Lin Jiej's phone rang. It was Xia Shangzhou replying to his WeChat, "Boss, what's the matter?" Instead of replying to Xia Shangzhou's message, he dialed the number and pointed to his phone, indicating that he wanted to take a call. It didn't take long for the call to go through. Ignoring what Xie Shangzhou was saying on the other end of the line, Lin Jie replied, "Hello, Mr. Xia." 3 seconds of silence followed before Xie Shangzhou's trembling voice sounded, "Boss, did you call the wrong number?" Ignoring Xie Shangzhou's words, Lin Jie asked, "Mr. Xia, are you free now?" Xie Shangzhou's voice trembled. "Boss, I'm fine with anything you want me to do, as long as you don't call me Boss Xia." Lin Jie, "That's good. I just saw your WeChat message saying that you have some suggestions you'd like to raise with me. No, I don't have anything against you. Absolutely not. Boss, you are my sky, my earth, and my air. How would I dare to have any opinions about you?" Lin Jie, "I don't think it's convenient to communicate through words, so if you don't mind, let's talk over the phone instead. It'll be easier for us to understand each other that way, so why don't you voice your opinion now?" Xie Shangzhou said, "Dad, I was wrong. I shouldn't have secretly taken 2 bottles of my dong and sold them to the people next door at a low price. Then, I used the money to buy duck necks." Lin Jie, "It's fine. If I have any opinions, I'll voice them out. Feel free to speak." Chapter 246. Lin Jie, "Mr. Xia, what are you talking about? Why would I be angry?" Xie Shangzhou, "Daddy, I beg of you to stop talking. I'll confess everything. I didn't have any socks to wear this afternoon, so I took a pair from your drawer. I'll buy you a new pair later. No, I'll buy 10 pairs. Also, when I was washing my hands yesterday, I accidentally used the wrong towel. I know that you're a germaphobe, so I'll buy you a new towel too. There shouldn't be anything else." Lin Jie, "Mr. Xia, Xie Shangzhou, no, let me think. Also, I didn't have any tissues to use that day, so I took a packet of tissues from your drawer. I really don't have any left this time. I guarantee that I really don't have any." Before Xie Shangzhou could finish his words, Lin Jie had already pressed the off button on his phone, forcefully shutting it off. Then, pretending that his phone had run out of battery, he frantically pressed the home button and said, I'm sorry, but I have some urgent matters to attend to at work, and my phone has run out of battery. Can I borrow your phone for a moment?" Without the slightest doubt, Shuyao passed her phone over to Lin Jie without any hesitation. Lin Jie didn't take it. Instead, he glanced at the black phone screen. Shuyao was stunned for a moment before understanding Lin Jie's intentions. She quickly unlocked the screen. Only then did Lin Jie thank her before taking the phone. After which, he dialed Xie Shangzhou's number once more. "Mr. Xia, I'm sorry, but my phone ran out of battery earlier. Please continue what you were saying earlier, boss." Xie Shangzhou stuttered on the phone for a moment before he finally spoke up with a tearful voice, "I've confessed everything, I've really confessed everything. Boss, I lied to you, I'm your son, boss, I admit that I've made a mistake, but Liu Benlai, that grandson of mine, has done much worse than me. Boss, do you know? He didn't wash his feet for the past 2 days, so in order to get his hands on the Maidong, he stepped on your bed to get it. I saw him stepping on your pillow with my own eyes. Also, boss, you said that we have to drink at least 3 bottles of Maidong every day, and I followed your instructions. However, Liu Benlai didn't. He secretly flushed the Maidong down the toilet. Also, boss, in order to show off, Liu Benlai even took a selfie with your laptop, saying that it was his new laptop." While Xie Shangzhou was rambling on and on, Shuyao's phone suddenly sounded with a low battery warning tone. Lin Jie glanced at Shuyao's screen and saw that the battery was already at less than 1%. He didn't immediately return the phone to Shuyao. Instead, he placed it by his ear and said politely, "Mr. Xia, I've taken down your words. I'll consider your opinion carefully and give you a reply when the time comes. boss, I'll do whatever you want me to do. Please don't write it down and don't give me a reply. Amidst Xie Shangzhou's anguished wails, Lin Jie unhesitatingly hung up the call and passed the phone back to Shi Yao. Chapter 247. While Lin Jie was making the call, the waiter had already brought the dishes over. Shi Yao was just about to stuff a mouthful of food into her mouth when she heard Lin Jie's words. It wasn't convenient for her to speak, so she could only shake her head. When she took the phone from Lin Jie's hands, she saw that Lin Jie was looking at her with a deeply remorseful gaze. She had initially thought that this was nothing much, but she hurriedly swallowed the food in her mouth and looked at Lin Jie with widened eyes before replying earnestly, "It's all right." Perhaps it was her sincerity that convinced Lin Jie, but he finally retracted his gaze and picked up his chopsticks. After the meal, Shi Yao called the waiter over to settle the bill. Unlike before, Lin Jie didn't rush to pay the bill. Instead, he calmly leaned back on his chair and watched as the waiter passed the bill to Shi Yao. Shi Yao took a look at the price and asked, "Can I pay via WeChat?" Waiter, "Sure." Shi Yao didn't say a word. She reached for her phone, but when she pressed on the unlock button and saw that the screen didn't light up, she suddenly remembered that Lin Jie had used up her phone's battery earlier. So, she hurriedly smiled apologetically at the waiter and said, "I just remembered that my phone is out of battery. I'll pay with my card instead." "All right, miss," the waiter replied before entering the payment on the card machine. Shi Yao rummaged through her bag, but she couldn't find her wallet anywhere. So, she hugged her bag tightly and began rummaging through her bag seriously. Time slowly ticked by, and when Shi Yao's fingertips came into contact with the colorful sanitary napkin for the second time, Lin Jie suddenly recalled that he had touched the same sanitary napkin before, so he cleared his throat in embarrassment and asked, "What's wrong?" Shi Yao, who had already rummaged through her bag 3 times, replied in embarrassment, I don't think I brought my wallet with me. Ah. He thought that she would panic and say that she had lost her wallet, but she actually said that she didn't bring her wallet with her. This is. As long as you have food, you can be so careless. Lin Jie was silent for a moment before he took out his wallet from his pocket and said, I'll do it. After swiping his card and signing his name, the two of them waited for the waiter to leave before Lin Jie and Shi Yao walked out of the restaurant one after another. A second after getting into the car, Shi Yao spoke up with a reddened face, that I really didn't mean to refuse to treat you to a meal. I really didn't bring my wallet with me. As if afraid that Lin Jie wouldn't believe her words, she intentionally opened her bag and showed it to him. As she had messed up her bag earlier, the sanitary napkin happened to be at the very top of the pile. Lin Jie glanced over, and the first thing he saw was the brightly colored cube. His face burned a little, but he quickly replied with a muffled before swiftly averting his gaze. Shi Yao was a little perplexed by his reaction. He had clearly called her to ask her to pay him back for the meal, but in the end, he was still the one paying the bill. Could it be that he felt that she had done it on purpose? The more Shi Yao thought about it, the more uneasy she felt. Eventually, she spoke up softly, I really have no intention of not paying you back for that meal. How about this? I'll give you the money and treat it as a loan. If you really can't do it, I'll write you an IOU later. Staring straight ahead, Lin Jie skillfully maneuvered the car and replied, There's no need for that. How can I do that? Why don't I treat you to 2 meals, no, 3? Before Shi Yao could finish her words, she suddenly fell silent as she looked at the scene outside the car window. Chapter 248. Noticing that Shi Yao had paused halfway through her words, Lin Jie turned to look at her in bewilderment. Seeing that she was looking out the window, he followed her gaze. There were 2 girls in her line of sight. One of them was holding a box of fried chicken, and the other was holding a box of ice cream. Is it because she saw someone holding food in their hands that she chose to stare at them without saying a word? Do you have to be so greedy? How embarrassing. Lin Jiej rubbed his forehead helplessly in his heart as he thought about buying her some fried chicken and ice cream later on so that she wouldn't be envious of others around her. A second after this thought formed in Lin Jiej's mind, he saw the girl holding the fried chicken stuffing a piece of fried chicken into the mouth of the girl holding the ice cream. Following which, the girl holding the ice cream scooped up a spoonful of ice cream and fed it into the mouth of the girl holding the fried chicken. As the two girls ate their food, they looked at one another with satisfied smiles on their faces. In that instant, Lin Jiej seemed to have understood something, and he turned to look at Shi Yao, who was sitting in the front passenger seat. Looking at the two girls who were smiling at one another, the girl seemed to have recalled something from the past, and her eyes began to drift away. Even though she didn't reveal too much emotion on her face, her slightly pursed lips still betrayed her disappointment and sadness. So, he had misunderstood her earlier. It wasn't because of the food in the two girls' hands. Rather, it was because their actions reminded her of Liang Mumu. So, even though she looks fine on the surface, she's still unhappy in her heart. With this thought in mind, Lin Jiej slowed down the car and stopped by the roadside. Shi Yao, who was staring at the two girls outside the window motionlessly, noticed that the car had stopped, and she turned to look at Lin Jiej with a doubtful look. Meeting her gaze, Lin Jiej pointed to KFC not too far away and said, "I'm going to the washroom." Shi Yao nodded slightly. After Lin Jiej got out of the car, she turned to look at the two girls once more. They had already walked far away, such that she could only see their backs. However, from their actions, she could still tell that they were very happy and intimate. It was just like how she and Liang Mumu used to be, just like how they used to be. After taking a few steps into KFC, Lin Jiej suddenly turned around to look at Shi Yao in the car. He saw that the girl was looking at the other two girls again. Perhaps because he was not in the car, the sadness and regret on her face became much more obvious. He couldn't help but feel a slight twinge of pain in his heart. In the next second, he turned around and hurriedly walked into the KFC. At the same time, he whipped out his phone, switched it on, and logged into the game. Seeing that Liu Benlai and Xie Shangzhou were both online, he searched for Liu Benlai's WeChat and typed, "Let's meet at the KTV near our school in half an hour." Liu Benlai immediately replied, "Boss, I'm having a mild fever. Can we do it another day?" "Ha! Still playing games when you have a cold and a fever?" Ignoring Liu Benlai's message, Lin Jiej replied in an irrelevant manner, "2 days ago, you didn't wash your feet, so you stepped on my bed to get the maidong." Without waiting for Liu Benlai's reply, Lin Jiej continued composing his next message. Halfway through typing, Liu Benlai replied with a pitiful emoticon before adding, "Boss." Chapter 249. Liu Benlai replied with a series of pitiful emojis. "Daddy." Lin Jiej continued to ignore Liu Benlai's message, and as if he was talking to himself, he typed, "In order to show off, you hugged my laptop and took a selfie, saying that it's your new laptop." Liu Benlai sent a kneeling emoji followed by the following, "The other party is currently on his way to the KTV, and he'll arrive in 10 minutes, so he won't be able to reply to your message for the time being. Please forgive him." Why didn't he just do as he said from the start? Why did he have to go through so much trouble to type so many words? "There's only one request," Lin Jiej swiftly typed on the screen, "and that is to make Yao Yao happy." Liu Benlai, "Ha." Liu Benlai, "Boss, you're messing things up. Little Junior belongs to you, so you should be the one to do it." "How can I do that? Besides, if my future wife were to find out that I'm trying to coax Little Junior, wouldn't I be punished to kneel on durians? Is he trying to haggle with me?" Lin Jiej couldn't be bothered to type any more words. He copied the message he had sent earlier and sent it. 2 days ago, you didn't wash your feet, so in order to get the my dong, you stepped on my bed to get it. You must drink at least 3 bottles of my dong every day, but you fed them to the toilet bowl. Lu Benlai, I'll coax her, all right. Since you refuse a toast only to be forced to drink a forfeit. Ignoring Lu Benlai, Lin Jiej found Xie Shangzhou's WeChat and began sending a message. Thanks to Lu Benlai's experience, he was much more decisive this time around. Meet me at the KTV near the school in half an hour. I only have one request, and that is to make Yao Yao happy. I won't accept any rejection, because I secretly took 20 bottles of my dong and sold them to the roommates next door at a low price, then used the money to buy duck necks. I didn't have any socks to wear this afternoon, so I took a pair of socks from my cabinet. When I was washing my hands, I accidentally used my towel. Before Lin Jiej could finish his string of messages, Xie Shangzhou had already replied, Daddy, don't worry. Coaxing mommy is something that I should do. As long as mommy is happy, I'll be happy too. I'll do everything in my power to make mommy happy. Lin Jiej stopped typing and exited the conversation with Xie Shangzhou. He tapped on Lin Jiej's name and shared an address with her. Meet me at this KTV in half an hour. In order to prevent Lin Jiej from demanding an appearance fee, he added, Yao Yao is here. It took quite a while before Lin Jiej received a message from Lin Jiej. I've already marked out the appearance fee, 8,888 for 1 hour, 18,888 for 2 hours, and 28,888 for 3 hours. However, in view of Yao Yao's presence, I'll waive it. Without replying to Lin Jiej's message, Lin Jiej put away his phone, walked out of KFC, and returned to his car. After fastening his seatbelt and starting the car, Lin Jiej shot a glance at Shi Yao and asked, You don't have to worry about dinner tonight. If you really feel bad about it, why don't you come with me to a gathering? Shi Yao blinked her eyes in bewilderment as she looked at Lin Jiej and asked, A gathering? Lin Jiej didn't respond to Shi Yao's words. Instead, he asked a question that had little to do with the previous topic. Do you know how to drive? Shi Yao nodded. She had received her driving license this summer after her national college entrance examination. Chapter 250. Tonight's dinner cost 367 renminbi. Wasn't it a little too expensive for her to be the designated driver? Feeling a little guilty, Shi Yao pondered for a moment before saying, Let's forget about the designated driver fee. How about this? As a token of my apology and gratitude, I'll be your designated driver, and I'll repay you for the meal I owe you. At this point, Shi Yao suddenly felt that her idea was really too good, so she turned to Lin Jiej and asked, What do you think of this? In any case, my ultimate goal is to get you to attend the gathering. Since it's done, the process doesn't matter. With such thoughts in mind, Lin Jiej replied, As long as you're happy. By the time Lin Jiej and Shi Yao arrived at the KTV near the school, Lu Benlai and Xie Shangzhou had already booked a room and were waiting inside. A second after Lin Jiej pushed open the door and stepped in, Lu Benlai, who Lin Jiej had a handle on, immediately greeted enthusiastically, Boss. Xie Shangzhou's voice was even more enthusiastic than Lu Benlai's, Boss. Ignoring the two of them, Lin Jiej opened the door and allowed Shi Yao to enter. Upon seeing Lu Benlai and Xie Shangzhou, Shi Yao immediately greeted them politely, Seniors, nice to meet you. Seeing that the main character had arrived, Lu Benlai immediately flashed a bright smile and greeted warmly, Hello, little junior. Xie Shangzhou's tone was even more friendly and enthusiastic than Lu Benlai's, and he even moved a little more. He stood up and pointed to the sofa and the fruit juice on the table, Hello, little junior. Please take a seat, and please have some fruit juice. Caught off guard by their overly enthusiastic actions, Shiryao took half a step back and said, "I'm sorry to disturb you, but I'm actually here to be your driver." Lu Benlai and Xie Shangzhou were taken aback. Driver? Shiryao's eyes curled into crescents as she smiled. Then, she turned to look at Lin Jiej and said, "He'll be drinking later, so I'll be his driver." So, he enslaved them to coax Little Junior, and yet, he actually enslaved Little Junior to be his driver. Lu Benlai and Xie Shangzhou turned to look at Lin Jiej. Receiving the gazes of the duo, Lin Jiej remained completely unperturbed. He simply raised the phone in his hand slightly. Lu Benlai and Xie Shangzhou immediately understood what he meant. He was warning them about the messages he had sent them in WeChat. Lu Benlai immediately understood what was going on. He turned to Shiryao and said, "Little Junior sure is incredible. You can drive at such a young age." Understanding Lin Jiej's intentions, Xie Shangzhou picked up the bottle of fruit juice on the table and began twisting the cap off as he lied through his teeth. "Little Junior, do you know that the people I admire the most in my life are women who can drive?" But before Xie Shangzhou could finish his words, he sensed Lin Jiej's cold gaze directed at him, and he immediately stuttered in fright. "TT female." He stuttered for a moment before realizing something. He hurriedly took back the open bottle of fruit juice from Shiryao's hand, brought it to his mouth, and gulped it down cleanly. It was only after he removed the bottle that he realized that Lin Jiej's complexion had improved significantly. Chapter 251. Shiryao's gaze followed Xie Shangzhou's movements all the way to Lin Jiej's beautiful fingers. Wasn't Little Junior supposed to drink fruit juice? Why did he give it to Lin Jiej? Just as Shiryao was about to turn her head to look at Xie Shangzhou in confusion, Lin Jiej gracefully opened the bottle cap and passed it over to her. Ah! Xie Shangzhou did pass the fruit juice to her, but he passed it to Lin Jiej so that he could open the bottle cap for him. But doesn't Xie Shangzhou know how to open a bottle cap? Even if he doesn't know how to open a bottle cap, I know how to do it. Besides, I'm especially good at opening bottle caps, so why did he go through so much trouble to pass it to Lin Jiej? Is there something wrong with Lin Jiej's roommate's head? Shiryao thought as she took the fruit juice from Lin Jiej's hands and said, "Thank you." Lu Benlai, "Little Junior, do you want to sing?" Xie Shangzhou, "What song do you want to sing?" "I'll pick a song for you." Shiryao took a sip of the fruit juice before shaking her head at the duo. Lu Benlai and Xie Shangzhou didn't force Shiryao, nor did they dare to. "If you want to sing later, just let me know. I'll pick a song for you." After saying those words, Xie Shangzhou ran over to the song selection counter and fought with Lu Benlai to pick a song. Shiryao swallowed the fruit juice in her mouth. Out of politeness, she was just about to reply to Xie Shangzhou with a "sure" when the door was pushed open. Dressed in a peacock blue dress and heels of the same color, Lin Jiej walked into the room with a Hermes bag in hand. She was the first to see Shiryao, and a warm and gentle smile immediately appeared on her cold and exquisite face. "Yao Yao." Upon seeing Lin Jiej, Shiryao's eyes lit up. "Sis Jiej." Lin Jiej shot Shiryao a coquettish glance before turning her gaze to Lin Jiej, who was seated beside Shiryao. The smile on her face instantly turned cold. She responded with a light as a form of greeting before turning to look at Lu Benlai and Xie Shangzhou, who were busy picking songs. This time, Lin Jiej didn't say a word at all. She simply nodded slightly toward Lu Benlai as a form of greeting, but when her gaze fell upon Xie Shangzhou's face, her eyebrows abruptly knitted together. A second later, with killing intent emanating from her, she spat, "Peeping Tom." Peep, peep, peep. Isn't this a navigator? How did he become a peeping Tom? Xie Shangzhou nearly fell to his knees. Similarly perplexed, Shiryao tugged on Lin Jiej's sleeve and asked, "Sis Jiej, what do you mean by peeping Tom?" Hearing Shi Yao's voice, Lin Jiayi immediately abandoned Xia Shangzhou and sat down beside Shi Yao. With a gentle voice, she said, "Back then, he hid in my bathroom at my place. When I went in to shower, he saw me, no." Xia Shangzhou instinctively tried to defend himself, but before he could even utter a single word, Lin Jiayi had already shot daggers at him. Frightened out of his wits, he immediately shut his mouth and fell silent. Oblivious to this sight, Shi Yao's eyebrows shot up. So, not only is there a hole in Lin Jiayi's brain, he's also a huge pervert. With such thoughts in mind, Shi Yao muttered indignantly, "That person is really too much. Lin Jiayi, that's right, he's really too much. Lu Benlai, that's right, he's really too much." Lin Jiej, Xia Shangzhou was filled with indignation, but he had no one to vent it on. Chapter 252. However, it didn't take long for Lu Benlai to step forward to save the day. The coolness that he had chosen suddenly reminded him of the background music. The night grows cold, the flowers fall to the ground and turn into frost. Lu Benlai was a man, so Shi Yao thought that it would be a man's voice. Contrary to her expectations, it was a female voice. Astonished, Shi Yao raised her head to look at the singing Lu Benlai. Gazing from afar, depleting the twilight, it's hard to forget, it was only after Lu Benlai opened his mouth that Shi Yao was certain that it was indeed a female voice. "Yao Yao's peach blossom is cool, how could you give up in your previous life?" Lu Benlai continued singing, and just like in the duet, he had switched to a male voice this time around. "This boundless sea of heart, yet you pretend to be nothing but a facade." Wasn't Lin Jiej's roommate a little too incredible? To be able to switch between male and female voices so perfectly. Shi Yao's attention was immediately drawn to Lu Benlai. "The coolness of the night, my longing for you flows into a river, turning into spring mud to protect me. The light years brush the sleeves of my lover, the fragrant flowers flow into the water." Lu Benlai's male voice and female voice finally reached the halfway point of coolness. However, when he reached the latter half of the song, Lu Benlai's voice was still that of a female voice, and the melody was identical to the original music. However, the lyrics were a little different. "They say that I'm too fat, that my body is covered in fat." Shi Yao, who had lowered her head to sip on her fruit juice after finishing the first half of the song, abruptly froze upon hearing those words. She was stunned for 3 seconds before she slowly raised her head to look at Lu Benlai once more. Lu Benlai's mouth was still opening and closing. "Your back is like a wall, no matter what you wear. It's hard for a young lady to find a partner." Shi Yao blinked her eyes several times before realizing that Lu Benlai had changed the lyrics. Following which, Lu Benlai's voice changed to that of a male voice, but the lyrics were still different from the one displayed on the screen. "They're not lying, I'm most afraid of having you by my side. Even though you're so beautiful, I beg of you to forgive me and block my sunlight." Hearing those words, Shi Yao couldn't hold herself back anymore, and escaped her mouth. She nearly spat out her drink. It was fortunate that she reacted quickly and covered her mouth. "Do you have to be so funny to sing like that, and even change the lyrics so shamelessly?" Seeing Shi Yao smile, Lu Benlai didn't stop singing, but he discreetly shot a glance toward Lin Jiej. The man sitting next to Shi Yao turned his head to look at her when he saw her smile. The boy's face was as cold and indifferent as ever. However, when his eyes came into contact with the girl's upturned lips, they softened a little. Knowing that he was finally safe, Lu Benlai sang even harder than before. Lu Benlai, female voice, Benlai, female, Benlai, Lu Benlai. Shi Yao had just removed her hand from her lips when she heard the lyrics, and she burst into laughter once more. Lu, Lai Lu, T, male, Lu, male voice. Shi Yao's smile revealed her teeth as she leaned over to Lin Jiayi's ear and whispered. Looking at Shi Yao's reaction, Lin Jiej couldn't help but smile. It was hard to tell if he was infected by the young lady's laughter or Liu Benlai's lyrics. Chapter 253. Xie Shangzhou, who had also been assigned a mission by Lin Jiej, sat by the side, silently observing the expressions on Shi Yao and Lin Jiej's faces. Seeing that Liu Benlai had actually managed to amuse Shi Yao by changing the lyrics of his song, he immediately moved the song he had chosen to the very front and waited for Liu Benlai to finish singing before taking the microphone from him. Shi Yao had heard the song that Xie Shangzhou had chosen before. It was a song that Lin Jiej had unintentionally hummed while she was on the phone with Han Jing. It was called Short Paper, Long Feelings. I'll accompany you into the summer of cicadas, passing through the hustle and bustle of the city. My voice is still drifting, but I can't see the gentleness in your eyes. Compared to Liu Benlai, Xie Shangzhou's singing was slightly better, and he was able to bring out more emotions. This was especially so when he reached the climax of the song. Shi Yao couldn't help but hum along with the lyrics in her heart. I really miss you. In every rainy season, what you choose to forget is what I'm most reluctant to part with. Short paper, long feelings, endless ripples, my story is all about you. However, at the climax of the song, the lyrics that Shi Yao had picked up didn't match Xie Shangzhou's at all. How did I fall in love with him? Isn't it all because I'm blind? Shi Yao froze. Forsaking a forest, tripping over a broken blade of grass. Hearing those words, Shi Yao's lips crept up once more. So, this pervert with a hole in his head also changed the lyrics. Short paper, long feelings, endless words, a bag of A4 can't tell you how much of a scumbag you are. When he finished singing the last line, Xie Shangzhou even squeezed out an aggrieved expression, and Shi Yao couldn't help but burst into laughter once more. Seeing that Xie Shangzhou was done, Liu Benlai immediately picked up the microphone and roared, "Damn it, you shameless bastard! How dare you steal my idea?" Xie Shangzhou retorted without any hesitation, "You're the shameless bastard. I stole the idea of a netizen." "Are you a netizen?" Liu Benlai spat through gritted teeth, "Do you know that you're a well?" Xie Shangzhou was perplexed. "What?" Liu Benlai, "It's still a 2 no matter what." Xie Shangzhou, "You're a 2 no matter what. Your entire family is a 2 no." Amused by the bickering between the two of them, Shi Yao pursed her lips and giggled for a moment before a thought suddenly struck her, and she subconsciously turned her head to look at Xie Shangzhou and Liu Benlai. Am I seeing things? Why did she feel that the bickering scene between the two of them was a little like expert and juice? Xie Shangzhou said, "I'm not going to argue with you today. Let's duel based on our skills. I'll skewer the lyrics." Liu Benlai, "Come. Come. Who's afraid?" As he spoke, Liu Benlai tapped on the karaoke button and selected a random background song. Raising the microphone, he began singing, "Your tears, gentle yet bright. I've been away from you for too long, mother." Facing Liu Benlai's skewering, Xie Shangzhou didn't back down at all. "We all have a family called China, and we have many brothers and sisters. The scenery isn't too bad either. Old people don't want their children to contribute much to their family." Liu, picking a Lulu, Lu Shangli Lu. Chapter 254. Seated on the sofa, Shi Yao was completely dumbfounded as she listened to the duo's barrage of words. Songs can actually be sung like this. Liu Benlai, "I'm a tiny little bird, I want to fly higher. Fly higher." Xie Shangzhou, Night Shanghai, heya, pulling radishes, poo. Hearing those words, Shi Yao couldn't help but burst into laughter. Even Lin Jiej, who was seated by the side, couldn't help but have her lips curl up uncontrollably, even though she seemed to be looking at the lively duo with a cold and aloof gaze. Instead, Lu Benlai called for a waiter to bring a few more microphones over. After placing them on the table, he beckoned for Lin Jie, Shi Yao, and Lin Jiej to join him for a song skewer. Perhaps it was because the two of them had really stirred up the atmosphere, but Lin Jie didn't turn them down. She picked up the microphone and pondered for a few seconds before saying, "For you, I'm willing to transfer the warmth of one person to another's chest." Lu Benlai shouted out a string of 666,666 before continuing singing, "I'll accompany you to watch the meteor shower fall on Earth, to watch the railway being built all the way to my hometown. Xie Shangzhou, men, cry, cry. It's not a sin to cry. Soar through this world of mortals and accompany me forever." Amidst the three of them, Shi Yao couldn't help but smile from ear to ear. In the end, she couldn't help but grab the microphone and join them as well. "Shi Yao, give me a cup of love-forgetting water. I'll live with it for the rest of my life." "Lu Benlai, who's going to play East Wind Break on the pipa? Let the world know that we're all Chinese." "Lin Jie, where will you be 1,000 years later? Wipe away your tears and don't ask. At the very least, we still have our dreams." As time ticked by, the few of them became more and more excited. The entire room was filled with singing and laughter. When it was almost 12 o'clock, a line of red words flashed on the big KTV screen, reminding them that their private room time was about to end. It was Lu Benlai's turn to sing, but he didn't. Instead, he raised the microphone and said, "Before tonight ends, let's use a single sentence to express our wishes. I'll go first, okay?" As he spoke, Lu Benlai shouted, "Let us live a carefree life together in the world of mortals." Xie Shangzhou raised his microphone and shouted, "Let us be companions in the world of mortals, and live as long as Mount Nanshan." Lin Jie fell silent for 2 seconds before shouting out the words in her heart, "Let us be companions in the world of mortals, brave to love, brave to hate." Noticing that the three of them were looking at her, Shi Yao tilted her head to the side and pondered for a moment before placing the microphone to her lips and saying, "Let us accompany you in the world of mortals and eat till we're fat." "All right." Amidst Lu Benlai, Xie Shangzhou, and Lin Jie's jeers, Xie Shangzhou turned to Lin Jiej and asked, "Boss, do you want to make a wish too?" Lu Benlai, "That's right. Boss, say something." Lin Jie, "Hurry up. Tell me your wish." Shi Yao nodded vehemently as she looked at Lin Jiej in agreement, on. Seeing that Shi Yao had made a request, Lin Jiej didn't turn her down. He stood up, walked over to the table, and picked up the microphone. After 2 seconds of silence, he looked at Shi Yao and said calmly, "Let us accompany you in the world of mortals and eat buns every day." Lin Jie replied disdainfully, "Tsk, I hate eating buns the most." Chapter 255. When Lin Jiej walked past Lu Benlai, the latter remarked in displeasure, "Boss, your wish is too perfunctory." "Perfunctory? Compared to your vague wish of living a carefree life, my wish is far more practical." Without sparing Lu Benlai a glance, Lin Jiej continued walking forward. Just as he was about to reach Xie Shangzhou, the latter suddenly picked up Lu Benlai's words and ridiculed, "Are the wishes of the rich so capricious?" Capricious? If eating buns every day is considered capricious, I'm more than willing to be capricious to the very end. Lin Jiej continued walking forward, and when he arrived before Shi Yao, his gaze fell on her face. Seeing that the other three had expressed their opinions, Shi Yao also chimed in, "I like crab roe buns." Lin Jiej, who hadn't shown any reaction at all from the start to the end, replied elegantly, I got it." "Ah. It's not like I'm the only one who said those words, so why should I reply with, I got it?" Shi Yao shot a peculiar glance at Lin Jiej. Without saying a word, Lin Jiej pulled open the door of the suite and headed over to the front desk. After paying the bill, Xie Shangzhou and Liu Benlai tactfully left together. After Lin Jie and Shi Yao left the suite, they headed to the washroom together, and they still hadn't come out yet. Lin Jiej stood at the entrance of the KTV, basking in the cool night breeze as he recalled the 4 different reactions he'd received after he'd voiced his wish in the private room earlier. After that, he eliminated Shi Yao from the equation. What do the other 3 know? Their buns are commonplace buns, but mine is the one and only soft bun in the entire world. By eating buns every day, I mean eating soft bun every day. With such thoughts in mind, Lin Jiej couldn't help but look down on the other 3 disdainfully. However, his disdain didn't last more than 3 seconds before his thoughts drifted away again. Eat soft bun. Just how am I supposed to eat soft bun? More importantly, how am I supposed to eat soft bun every day? This thought lingered in his mind for an entire 3 minutes before he finally realized what he was thinking. Following which, as if someone had sealed his acupoints, he froze on the spot. Was he crazy? To think that she would make such a wish. Fine, he could just treat it as a wish to eat buns, but why did it have to be soft bun? Not to mention, soft bun every single day. In an instant, Lin Jiej felt a searing sensation crawling all over his ears, and even his cheeks were starting to heat up. Crazy, he's really crazy. Lin Jiej. Lin Jie walked out of the KTV together with Shi Yao, and upon seeing Lin Jiej standing at the entrance, she immediately called out to him. Lin Jiej turned around to look at the 2 ladies behind him before quickly averting his gaze with a reddened face. He feigned a calm before turning to Lin Jie and asking, "Did you drive here?" "I came over from a dinner party. I left the car with my mother," Lin Jie replied. "Alright, you should drive my car home," Lin Jiej said as he tossed the car keys over to Lin Jie. Chapter 256. Lin Jiej nodded his head silently. Shi Yao waved at Lin Jie and said, "Sis Jie, goodbye." "Goodbye, my dear Yao Yao." Lin Jie smiled brightly at Shi Yao before placing her hand on her lips and saying, Seeing her actions, Lin Jiej knew that she was going to blow Shi Yao another kiss and say, "Mwah." Without waiting for her to finish her words, he reached out to grab Shi Yao's head and turned her face toward him. After saying, "Let's go," he slid his hand down to Shi Yao's neck and held it lightly before leading her back to the academy. After walking for a distance, Lin Jiej turned around to take a look, but Lin Jie's car was already out of sight. Only then did he remove his hand from Shi Yao's neck. The 2 of them didn't talk much as they walked along the street, passing by streetlight after streetlight. At a corner, Lin Jiej turned around to look at Shi Yao. Perhaps it was because she had a good time at the karaoke, her eyes were still glowing with excitement. There was no trace of the dejection and depression she had when she saw 2 passers-by getting intimate with each other in the car after dinner. His tense mood from before had also been swept away by the change in her mood. Still a little worried, Lin Jiej suddenly halted his footsteps when he passed by a 24-hour supermarket. "What's wrong?" Seeing that Lin Jiej had stopped, Shi Yao stopped as well. Lin Jiej stared at the supermarket for a moment before tossing a "give me a moment" at her before walking into the supermarket. Soon, he walked out of the supermarket with a plastic bag in his hand. It was already late at night, so even with the streetlights in the area, Shi Yao was still unable to see what was inside the plastic bag. She didn't ask. Instead, she watched as he walked out of the supermarket and continued walking toward the school. After entering the school, just as they were about to reach the female dormitory, Lin Jiej stopped by a streetlight once more. Shi Yao shot a perplexed glance at Lin Jiej, thinking that this was where he planned to send her off. She was just about to say goodbye when she saw him taking out a glass bottle of water from the plastic bag and smashing it on the ground. His actions were so abrupt that Xiao staggered 2 steps back in fright. She looked at the shattered glass bottle and the water that had spilled all over the floor before turning to Lin Jiej with a perplexed look. Lin Jiej still didn't say a word. Instead, he took off the thin jacket he was wearing and searched around his armpit area. Then, he took out a thin blade from a plastic bag and slashed it viciously at the jacket. In the blink of an eye, a small hole was left in the expensive jacket. What's wrong with him? Why did he do so many strange things? Xiao frowned as she looked at Lin Jiej. Just as she was about to speak up, the latter spoke up first. Xiao, there are some things that are like this bottle of mineral water on the ground. Once it shatters and the water spills, it's impossible for it to return to its original state. There are also some things that are like this jacket in my hand. Even if it's torn, it won't be noticeable at all. It can still be worn with some mending. After saying those words, Lin Jiej gestured toward the female dormitory and said, "Let's go." Xiao didn't say a word. Her mind was completely immersed in Lin Jiej's earlier actions and words. It wasn't until she returned to her dormitory room, took a bath, and lay on her bed that she vaguely seemed to understand something. Then, just as she was about to close her eyes to sleep, she reached for her phone, tapped into her messages, and searched for Lin Jiej's name. Chapter 257. Xiao stared at the phone screen for a moment, and the more she thought about it, the more convinced she was that her instincts were right. So, she raised her finger and tapped on the screen. "Sis Jai, did you put me and?" Out of habit for many years, Xiao instinctively wanted to type the word Mumu, but it was only after she typed in the letters Mu that she realized that she was no longer Mumu, but Liang Mumu. "Did I tell you about Liang Mumu?" After watching Xiao enter the female dormitory, Lin Jiej returned to the street lamp where they had been standing earlier. He picked up the shattered glass bottles one by one with a napkin and tossed them into the trash can before straightening his back. It was already late at night, and the entire school was eerily quiet. There wasn't a single person in sight. However, Lin Jiej wasn't in a hurry to return to his dormitory. Instead, he took out his phone, searched for Liang Juxi's number, and made a call. The phone rang for quite a while before it was finally picked up. Liang Juxi seemed to have been woken up from his sleep by Lin Jiej. When he spoke, there was a heavy drowsiness in his voice. "Bro, do you know that it's immoral to disturb someone's sleep in the middle of the night?" Through Liang Juxi's voice, Lin Jiej could hear him getting down from his bed to pour a cup of water. While he was doing that, his mouth didn't stop moving at all. "Also, do you know that I wasn't having a dream earlier? It was a sweet dream. My little sister Miaoxue is wearing a very cute, pink, and kawaii underwear, and it's a thin one." "Oh, right. You might not know who my little sister Miaoxue is, but she's the female lead of a manga that I bought recently. It's a really good manga. Do you want to read it?" "I'd be reluctant to share my little sister Miaoxue with anyone else, but if it's you, I'm willing to share my little sister Miaoxue with you." Liang Juxi. Lin Jiej, who was used to Liang Juxi recommending all kinds of erotic manga to him whenever he picked up the call, suddenly called out his name. Lin Jiej's tone was very serious, completely different from the casual and carefree attitude he usually had with Liang Juxi. Liang Juxi's incessant chatter suddenly came to a halt. Lin Jiej continued, "The reason why I called you is to tell you to keep that cousin of yours in check when you're free." Liang Juxi was silent on the other end of the phone for 2 seconds before he said in puzzlement, "Little cousin? Moo. What happened to her?" Before Lin Jiej could say anything, Liang Juxi had already asked, "Did something happen?" But Moo only has the temper of a spoiled brat. She doesn't have any bad intentions. She might have liked you since young, so if she offended you in any way, I'll apologize to you. Please don't take it to heart." Before Liang Jusi could finish his Lin Jiej had already interjected coldly, "I mind, and I mind it very much. I mind it very much." Liang Jusi, seriously? It couldn't be that serious, right? What on earth did she do? You can ask her directly what she did. In any case, I'll leave it at that. I hope that what she did this time will be the first and last time. As the words left Lin Jiej's lips, his tone grew colder and colder, and even his expression turned a little icy. "If there's a next time, I can guarantee that it won't be as simple as calling you." Chapter 258. Did that lass really go overboard? There was a hint of incredulity in Liang Jusi's voice. "I've always thought that she's a little too willful, but speaking of which, you should know very well what kind of person I am. Since you've already said that, I'll definitely take care of her. Why don't we find some time to invite her over to treat you to a meal as an apology?" Without even thinking about it, Lin Jiej rejected the offer resolutely. "There's no need for that." "Aw. You're so ruthless. You won't even give me face." Liang Jusi's tone grew even more surprised. "Just how did she offend you?" "The person she offended isn't me." Lin Jiej paused for a moment before continuing. "The person she offended is Yao Yao." "Aw. Yao Yao. Which Yao Yao? Why don't I know anyone named Yao Yao among the people you know?" He muttered to himself for a moment before he finally came to a realization. "Oh, I get it now. The Yao Yao you're talking about can't be the fiancé your grandfather arranged for you, right? That can't be, right? You're going to turn me down just because of someone you don't want to marry? No matter what, Mumu grew up with us. Surely you don't have to go that far. Someone you don't want to marry." As Liang Jusi's words drifted into Lin Jiej's ears, a deep frown appeared on his forehead. Even his words became much sharper and slower. "Liang Jusi, I'm warning you. In the future, you'd better be more polite when you mention her." The other end of the phone fell silent. After a long time, Liang Jusi's voice finally sounded, "Are you serious?" "Yes, I'm serious." Without any hesitation, Lin Jiej replied to Liang Jusi's question. "The reason why I called you today is to give you some face by telling you to keep your little cousin in check. If I had done so, things wouldn't have turned out this way. She's my bottom line, and your little cousin has crossed it. Do you understand what it means to be a bottom line?" After saying those words, without any hesitation, Lin Jiej removed the phone from his ear and tapped on the button to end the call. Perhaps due to Liang Jusi's words, Lin Jiej took a few deep breaths, and he still felt a little irritated. Someone you don't want to marry. What does he know? Is he him? What right did he have to say these words? Wasn't this clearly slandering him? The next time he saw him, he would burn that little sister Miaoshua of his with a fire. With this thought in mind, Lin Jiej walked toward the dormitory with a hint of resentment in his heart. At the same time, he lowered his head to look at the time on his phone. But before he could get a good look at the time, he saw a message from Shi Yao. "Sis Jai, did she tell you about me and Liang Mumu?" So, she understood what he was hinting at under the streetlight before he sent her back to the dormitory building. Unlike before, Lin Jiej didn't try to find an excuse to cover up certain matters. Instead, he replied with a natural, "on." After sending the message, Shi Yao waited for a long while, but there was still no reply from Lin Jiej. It was only then that she remembered that his phone had run out of battery during dinner, so it was likely that he hadn't switched it back on yet. Perhaps, he might have returned to his dormitory room to charge it up before going to sleep. Thus, she placed her phone down and closed her eyes, preparing to go back to sleep. Chapter 259. Lin Jiej had replied to her message. The content was very much in line with his style. It couldn't get any simpler than a simple mem. But it was precisely this single word that made Shi Yao's drowsiness disappear in an instant. So, I wasn't wrong. The things he did and the words he said were really a hint to Liang Mumu. Before Shi Yao could recover from her shock, Lin Jiej had already sent another message. Are you feeling better now? Shi Yao didn't think too much about it. She raised her finger to tap on the screen, but before she could type out her reply, Lin Jiej's message appeared on the screen once more. Are you feeling better now? Shi Yao was stunned. He was asking if she was feeling better now. She could understand his reaction. After all, no matter who it was, they would be sad to see someone whom they had once treated as a friend betraying them. But, was she feeling better now? That question surprised her a little. Her mood was indeed much better now, but how did he know? Could it be? Yet another thought surfaced in Shi Yao's mind. She felt that her conjecture was simply too bold. Had it been in the past, she would have rejected it without any hesitation. But this time, she felt strangely confident, even though she had no idea where this confidence came from. After a long moment of contemplation, Shi Yao decided to voice her conjecture openly. After all, she wouldn't know the truth even if she kept it to herself. With this thought in mind, Shi Yao quickly typed on her phone and replied to Lin Jiej. You called me so many times in the afternoon because you found out about this matter. While Shi Yao was confident in herself, she still couldn't help but feel a little uneasy. It was only after she sent this message that she began to feel a little uneasy. If Lin Jiej were to reply that it wasn't, how could she resolve the awkwardness? Just as Shi Yao was racking her brains for an excuse, her phone suddenly lit up. Lin Jiej, It's actually, Does this mean that my confidence is correct? As expected, a woman's sixth sense is exceptionally accurate. Is this a lie? So. With this thought in mind, Shi Yao continued typing. Was the KTV that night arranged at the last minute? This time, Lin Jiej replied instantly, It really was an impromptu arrangement. After confirming that she was right twice in a row, Shi Yao grew even more confident. Then, is the karaoke because of me? After the message was successfully sent, Shi Yao held her breath. From that moment on, she felt that time was passing very slowly. Just as she was about to suffocate to death, Lin Jiej's message suddenly popped up on her phone screen. It was still a single word, but this time, it wasn't an but a yes. So, it was really like this, she had guessed it right. She had guessed everything right. As soon as Lin Jiej found out about her relationship with Liang Mumu from Lin Jiai, he gave her a call. He could tell that she was in a bad mood, so he specially arranged for a karaoke session and called his roommates and sis Jiai over to cheer her up. In truth, after the karaoke session, she was truly overjoyed. Her gloomy mood for the entire day had been swept clean. An indescribable feeling suddenly engulfed Shi Yao's heart. Was he moved? He was touched, right? When you are sad, if someone tries to make you happy, you will definitely be very touched. Chapter 260. She wanted to thank Lin Jiej, but her fingers were trembling uncontrollably. She took several deep breaths, and it took a lot of effort before she managed to calm herself down. With trembling fingers, she typed, "Thank you, Lin Jiej." This time, Lin Jiej's reply was longer. It's what I should have done. What I should have done. I'm unhappy, and he's coaxing me. How is that what I should have done? Shi Yao frowned. She was just about to ask Lin Jiej when another message popped up on the screen. We're friends. Does this mean that Lin Jiej is treating me as a friend? She didn't have a good impression of him in the past, thinking that he was a lofty person who looked down on her. But now that they were interacting more, she realized that he wasn't such a bad person. For example, he had treated her to a meal, and he treated all the delicious food that girls had given him when they confessed to each other as trash, so, even if they were to cancel their engagement in the future and they couldn't be a family anymore, it wasn't impossible for them to remain friends. Besides, making a new friend was something to be happy about. With such thoughts in mind, Shuryao's eyebrows curled up as she replied, "It was quite sad to lose a friend, but now that I've made a new one, it doesn't seem too bad." Without waiting for Lin Jiej's reply, Shuryao continued, "But speaking of which, the way you coax me is really a little coquettish, especially those words you said after you smashed the glass bottle. You said that once it breaks and the water spills, it'll be impossible for you to return to how you were before. Let me tell you, it's a good thing that I'm smart. Anyone else would have no idea what you're doing." After receiving the 2 long messages from Shuryao, Lin Jiej carefully read through them word by word before commenting in his mind. Who in the world would praise themselves for being smart? But Soft Bun was indeed smart. She understood his hint and guessed his intentions. But, why did she only mention the hint about the broken glass bottle and not the torn jacket? Did she not understand that the ripping of the coat was also a hint? He was hinting that when he was young, his grandfather had forced a fiancé on him, and he had implicated her in his rage, saying many hurtful words to her. The meaning behind his words was that Liang Mumu couldn't be forgiven, but unlike Liang Mumu, he could still be forgiven for sewing and mending. Lin Jiej pondered for a moment before asking tactfully, "Other than that, do you have anything else to say?" Shuryao was probably chatting with him on her phone, so she replied swiftly, "I'm glad to be friends with you." Who wanted to hear that? Besides, he didn't really want to be friends with her. He just accidentally said, "It's what I should do," and was too embarrassed to find an excuse to save the situation. Lin Jiej patiently asked, "Other than that?" "Shuryao, your 2 roommates are really fun to play with, and they sing really well too." Lin Jiej raised his head to look at the sleeping Xie Shangzhou and Lu Benlai, and he suddenly felt an urge to suffocate them with a blanket. He took a deep breath and continued to ask, "Anything else?" "Shuryao, actually, it's all gone." She really didn't understand the latter half of my hint. Just as this thought flashed across Lin Jiej's mind, Shuryao sent another message. However, Lin Jiej's heart was filled with anticipation. Chapter 261. So, after spending so much effort to lure her out, all she got was that bottle of mineral water. So, in the end, it turned out that his efforts couldn't even compare to a bottle of mineral water that cost 24 renminbi. Shuryao was still sending him a message, and that bottle of mineral water is a glass bottle. It costs 24 renminbi a bottle. $24, $24. You actually wasted 24 renminbi just to coax someone. Even if that person was me, I still find it a waste. Do you know that I'll be overjoyed if you give me 24 renminbi? 24 renminbi is enough to buy 3 strawberry cakes, 2 cups of milk tea, 5 bottles of soft drinks, and a huge portion of fried paste noodles. He really couldn't continue chatting with her anymore. Lin Jiej clutched his slightly injured chest and replied, "It's getting late. Let's go to sleep." Putting down his phone, Lin Jiej thought to himself, "I better not chat with Soft Bun for the time being." A second later, the screen of his phone lit up. Lin Jiej swiftly picked up his phone, and as soon as he saw Shuryao's, "Alright, good night," message, he had already typed out a "good night" message and sent it. Shuryao didn't respond to his message. Before Lin Jiej put down his phone, he took a look at the time and saw that it was already 2 in the morning. He pulled over his blanket and prepared to sleep, but as soon as he closed his eyes, he suddenly thought of the hint in his words that she didn't manage to decipher. Why did she only understand the part about Liang Mumu but not him? With this thought in mind, Lin Jiej flipped over in his bed. She still had the cheek to say that she was smart. How was she smart? She was clearly stupid. With this thought in mind, Lin Jiej flipped over once more. And there must be something wrong with his head as well. How dare he praise her for being smart? Lin Jiej had no idea how long he flipped around like that, but all the way until he fell asleep, he was still feeling restless. There were several times when he wanted to pick up his phone and call Shi Yao to scold her for being stupid. It was hard to tell whether it was because her sleepiness had passed or because she was chatting with Lin Jiej, but after Shi Yao put down her phone, she closed her eyes, unable to fall asleep. Her vision was in a mess, and the contents of her conversation with Lin Jiej kept appearing in her mind. As she thought about it, her heartbeat began to accelerate, just like when she received Lin Jiej's message. Everyone in the dormitory room had fallen asleep, and it was extremely quiet. It was so quiet that Shi Yao could even hear her own thumping heart. She placed her hand on her chest before going through the contents of the message between her and Lin Jiej in her mind once more. Eventually, she couldn't help but bury her head back into her blanket as her lips curled up into a smile. Shi Yao had no idea how many times she had gone over the contents of their messages that night, but before she fell asleep, her mind was still filled with Lin Jiej's message. Her heart was still racing, and the corners of her lips were still curled up. After the middle of May, the weather quickly heated up. At noon, the bright sunlight shone on the campus. At a glance, the entire school was empty. There was almost no one walking around. After finishing yet another new project, Lin Jiej switched off his laptop and stretched his back lazily. He casually grabbed a bottle of Maidong, twisted open the cap, and drank 2 mouthfuls before picking up his phone. After replying to a few unread messages, Lin Jiej noticed that there was a red dot notification on his Moments page, so he tapped into it. After waiting for the page to refresh, the first thing he saw was a post that had been updated 3 minutes ago. Chapter 262. After replying to a few unread messages, Lin Jiej noticed that there was a red dot on his Moments page, so he tapped into it. The first thing he saw was Xia Shangzhou's Moments page from 3 minutes ago. Expert of the monkeys, I want to bring you to the romantic desert so that we can chase after the airdrops and escape from the blue circle together. Actually, I really like motorcycles and Milte, which has an 8x scope. Below this sentence was a picture from the game PlayerUnknown's Battleground. A man was riding a motorcycle with a woman on it, speeding through the desert. Above the man's head was the number 1 symbol, and above the woman's head was the number 2 symbol. On the upper left corner, number 1 was, Expert of the Monkeys, and number 2 was, Yao loves ice cream. Beneath the picture was a small line of text, mentioned, Yao loves ice cream. Lin Jiej didn't use his Moments page often, but he knew that it had this function. This meant that Xia Shangzhou had intentionally reminded Big White Chubby to look at his Moments page. While Lin Jiej was reading through the post, a like appeared on Xia Shangzhou's Moments page. It was, Yao loves ice cream. Following that, there was another reply from, Yao loves ice cream, the lyrics aren't bad. Did you write it? Xia Shangzhou sure is thick-skinned. To think that he would use Big White Chubby just to get replies and likes, with this thought in mind, Lin Jiej swiped down the screen. Roughly 16 hours ago, Xia Shangzhou had posted on his Moments page, I really want to eat duck blood vermicelli soup. There were 2 rows of likes and around a dozen replies. Among them, Yao loves ice cream, had liked the post and replied, I want to eat it too. Xia Shangzhou replied to her reply, and just like that, the 2 of them exchanged around 7 to 8 sentences on the topic of duck blood vermicelli soup, which took up 2/3 of Xia Shangzhou's replies. But Xia Shangzhou's Moments page didn't include Big White Chubby. So, even if he didn't like Big White Chubby, Big White Chubby would still like and reply to his Moments page. With this thought in mind, Lin Jiej tapped on Xie Shangzhou's name and entered his Moments page. While Xie Shangzhou didn't update his WeChat Moments every day, he could be considered as one of the more frequent men. Lin Jiej browsed through all of his WeChat Moments and realized that ever since he added Big White Chubby as his WeChat friend, Big White Chubby had liked most of his posts, and more than half of them had received a reply from Big White Chubby. A frown appeared on Lin Jiej's forehead as he tapped into his Moments page. He only sent one message, 333333. 78 people liked the post and 45 people replied. Lin Jiej, who never paid much attention to such things, first browsed through the replies, and after confirming that Yao loves ice cream wasn't there, he moved on to the profile pictures of the people who had liked his post. However, he wasn't able to find Big White Chubby's profile picture, so he went through it once more, but it still wasn't there. So, he continued searching. After repeating this process several times, Lin Jiej finally gave up. He had to face the fact that Yao loves ice cream hadn't liked his post at all. He had posted this on his WeChat Moments a long time ago. At that time, he and Big White Chubby were not friends yet. Therefore, when he compared his WeChat Moments with Xie Shangzhou, there was no basis for him to use as a reference. Chapter 263. After successfully uploading the post, Lin Jiej immediately received a like from Lin Yimu from the neighboring dormitory room. Lin Jiej didn't pay much attention to it, so he put down his phone and headed to the bathroom. By the time he came out, he had already received more than 20 notifications. Most of them were from people who had worked with him on projects before. Perhaps it was because his post was too boring, there were only 3 replies. The first one was from a senior whom he had unknowingly added. The reason why he knew it was a senior was because he had given her a note, but he wasn't too sure who it was either. Good afternoon, Junior Lin, and there was a little red heart at the end. Good afternoon is fine, but what's with this little red heart? Lin Jiej ignored it and looked at the second reply. It was from Lin Jai, 444,444 renminbi. The third reply was from Lin Jai, you're ignoring me. Could it be that it's 444,444 US dollars? To think that a random number would turn into money. You must be a lunatic seeing that. Yao loves ice cream, wasn't responding. Lin Jiej ignored Lin Jai and exited WeChat. He browsed through his books for a while, and roughly half an hour later, Lin Jiej entered his Moments page once more. Yao loves ice cream posted on her Moments, girls should treat themselves better. Eating 3 meals a day is torturing yourself, eating 4 meals a day is treating yourself normally, eating 5 meals a day is barely satisfying yourself, and eating 6 meals a day and above is truly loving yourself. The accompanying picture was of a table filled with crayfish. However, what caught Lin Jiej's attention was the name on the crayfish plate, Taste of Home. He had been to this restaurant before. On Soft Bun's birthday, she had brought him there. He didn't think that Big White Chubby would share the same taste as Soft Bun, liking their crayfish. After browsing through Yao loves ice cream post, Lin Jiej tapped into his own Moments page. There were many more likes, but there was still no Big White Chubby. There were also a few more replies. Other than Lin Jai muttering to herself and adding euro and HKD behind 444,444, there was also Xie Shangzhou's reply, Boss, it's rare to see you posting on your Moments page. Ignoring all of their replies, Lin Jiej returned to the main page of his Moments page and scrolled down. There were a few more replies under Xie Shangzhou's post. Expert of the monkeys, yeah, I modified it myself. Yao loves ice cream, impressive, impressive. I'm impressed. Expert of the monkeys, you're too kind. Thank you for your praise. So, Big White Chubby didn't like or reply to Xia Shangzhou's post even though she interacted with him. Lowering his eyelids, Lin Jie returned to the top of his Moments page and saw that there was a new reply under, Yao loves ice cream. It was from, Expert of the Monkeys, Sis Yao, I'll give you 88 points for your script. As for the remaining 12 points, I'll give them to you in the form of 666. Following which, Yao loves ice cream, replied to Xia Shangzhou with his own eyes. The other party unhesitatingly accepted your compliment and replied with an O, intersection. Oh, could it be that she didn't notice that he had just posted it on his Moments, and she had been interacting with Xia Shangzhou the whole time, so she replied to him. The more Lin Jie thought about it, the more convinced he was that his conjecture was correct. Thus, he gave a like to Yao loves ice cream's post. To return the favor, she should also give him a like on her Moments, right? Chapter 264. This time, Lin Jie didn't log out of WeChat to do anything else. Instead, he chose to stay in his WeChat Moments. He refreshed his Moments page again and again, but putting aside, Yao loves ice cream, likes and replies, she didn't even bother replying to his Moments page. In fact, after refreshing his Moments for the umpteenth time, he saw her reply to Xia Shangzhou. Expert of the Monkeys, garlic crayfish, egg yolk crayfish, 13 spice crayfish, spicy crayfish. What kind of crayfish is that I can't name? Yao loves ice cream, secret recipe crayfish. Yao loves ice cream, that's their specialty. It's really delicious, especially the rice cakes inside. They're super delicious, just a little spicy. It was one thing for her to ignore his reply, but she actually replied to Xia Shangzhou's post twice in a row. Lin Jie suddenly felt incredibly vexed. Without thinking too much, he replied to, Yao loves ice cream, once more, eating spicy food will cause pimples to break out. After successfully replying, Lin Jie finally received a reply. He quickly tapped on it, only to see that it was Xia Shangzhou's reply. It's impossible for Sis Yao to get pimples. Sis Yao is a natural-born beauty that puts the moon to shame and the flowers to shame. She's a peerless beauty. Lin Jie waited for a moment, but seeing that Big White Chubby still wasn't replying, he replied once more, what I said is the truth. There's an even scarier truth. Do you want to hear it? Without waiting for anyone to respond, Lin Jie continued typing. It's one thing for you to be fat, but if you have a face full of pimples, he had already replied to her Moments 4 times in a row. No matter how many messages she had on her Moments page, she should be able to see him this time around, right? Lin Jie intentionally waited for a moment before refreshing his Moments page. He scrolled through his Moments page, but he couldn't find the post that, Yao loves ice cream, had posted on his Moments page. Why can't I see Big White Chubby's Moments page? Could it be that she had deleted the post she had just posted on her Moments? With such a thought in mind, Lin Jie tapped on, Yao loves ice cream's profile picture and entered her Moments page. Originally, as soon as he came in, he could see all the content of her Moments, but this time, when he came in, all he saw was an empty page. Strange, could it be that there was a bug in his WeChat? Perplexed, Lin Jie tapped into Lin Jie's Moments page. No problem, I can look at my sister's circle of friends. Fearing that it might just be an accident, Lin Jie quickly tapped into a few other people's WeChat Moments, and after confirming that he was able to view them as usual, he frowned in bewilderment. He pondered for a long time, but he was still unable to make sense of the situation. So, he decided to look for Liu Benlei's WeChat instead. I was supposed to be able to see B's Moments, but after I replied to a few posts, he couldn't see B's Moments anymore. After explaining the situation to Liu Benlei, Lin Jie added, what's going on here? Roughly 3 minutes later, he received Liu Benlei's reply, is there even a need to ask? It must be that A has been blocked by B. Lin Jiej, block. Lu Benlai, that's right. Boss, don't tell me that you don't know about the Moments screen function. He never used his WeChat Moments, and his WeChat Moments didn't specifically call him to tell him, so how would he know? Chapter 265. Lu Benlai, boss, I swear on my integrity that it's definitely blocked. Do you have any integrity? How can you swear on your integrity so casually? Lin Jiej was still unwilling to believe that this was the truth. On the other end of WeChat, Lu Benlai seemed to know what Lin Jiej was thinking, and he sent another message, my chastity. And my love that's about to come. Lin Jiej couldn't be bothered to reply to Lu Benlai, so he tapped on Lu Benlai's name and selected the option to block him from seeing his Moments page. Then, he sent a message to Lu Benlai, tap into my Moments page and take a screenshot for me. Soon, Lu Benlai sent a screenshot over. It was exactly the same as when he first tapped into Big White Chubby's Moments page. Other than a background image, a profile picture, and a signature, he couldn't see anything else. So, it was just as Lu Benlai had said. Big White Chubby had blocked him from her Moments page. She and Xie Shangzhou had been replying so passionately in their Moments page, but when it came to him, it became a block. The more Lin Jiej thought about it, the more he lost his composure. In the end, he decided to head over to the App Store and found WeChat. He gave it a 1-star negative review, and the accompanying comment was, the user experience is terrible. If not for the fact that the lowest rating is 1 star, I would have given it a 0. Even after giving his review on WeChat, Lin Jiej still felt stifled. He tapped into WeChat once more and sent a message to Lu Benlai, I'll take you out for afternoon tea. Do you want to come? Lu Benlai instantly replied, sure. There was even a cute emoticon attached at the end. Lin Jiej, let's meet at the school gate in 10 minutes. Lu Benlai, alright, boss. A moment later, Lu Benlai, boss, should we call old Xiaolong? Xie Shangzhou. Without any hesitation, Lin Jiej replied, no, abandon him. Lu Benlai, sure. I'm not familiar with old Xia anyway. What's his name? How tall is he? How much does he weigh? How old is he? I don't know anything. By the time Lin Jiej arrived at the school gate, Lu Benlai was already waiting for him. As soon as Lin Jiej approached, Lu Benlai put away his phone and asked, boss, where are we going for afternoon tea? You'll know when we get there, Lin Jiej replied nonchalantly. After which, he flagged down a taxi at the entrance of the academy and gestured for Lu Benlai to get in. It was 3 in the afternoon, and it wasn't the peak hour of the night shift yet, so the traffic wasn't too bad. Roughly 20 minutes later, the car arrived at the street that Lin Jiej had reported to them. After making the payment, Lin Jiej and Lu Benlai walked roughly 200 meters down the road before stopping in front of a shop. Lu Benlai knew of this street. It was a famous street for supper in Beijing. He raised his head to look at the shop's name, Taste of Home. Then, he stared at the picture of a menacing crayfish and asked, boss, are you sure we want crayfish for tea? Lin Jiej replied with a nonchalant before leading the way into the flavor of home. Lu Benlai discreetly rubbed his stomach, which hadn't fully digested his lunch, and gritted his teeth to follow along. Even though it was afternoon, there were still many tables filled with people. Lin Jiej found a seat near the center of the restaurant and took a seat. He pushed the menu over to Lu Benlai and gestured for him to place his order. After which, he began looking around at the people eating crayfish in the area. Chapter 266. The only interaction he had with Big White Chubby was limited to PlayerUnknown's Battleground. Even if he were to look through every single person here, he still wouldn't be able to guess which one was Big White Chubby. In truth, he was just casually looking around, but it didn't take long before his attention was drawn to a table on the right by the window. Because Soft Bun was at that table. Perhaps it was a classmate gathering, but there were around 9 people seated at Soft Bun's table. Other than Soft Bun, Lin Jiej had some impression of 3 of them. They had followed Shuyao to the toilet during the physical education class. Lin Jiej couldn't recall the name of the round-faced girl sitting on Shuyao's right, but thanks to Lu Benlai, he knew that the name of the girl sitting on Shuyao's left was Leng Wan. As for the girl who resembled a boy sitting beside Leng Wan, while Lin Jiej didn't know her name, he had a rather deep impression of her. Back then, when he was running the 3 kilometers marathon for the sports meet, she was the one who accompanied Shuyao to bring him water. With such thoughts in mind, Lin Jiej discreetly shifted his gaze downward, and when he saw that her chest was completely flat, he suddenly recalled the message that Lin Jiai had sent him not too long ago. After that, Yao Yao said that she didn't want it. I stopped my mother, but no one stopped Liang Mumu. After that, Liang Mumu tore away the bedsheet, and we saw a girl who resembled a man but had a poached egg on her chest. So, the person who cuckolded me is her. She's the one who slept naked with Soft Bun. Lin Jiej's gaze fell on the young lady for a very long time, assessing her from head to toe. Her eyes aren't big enough, her nose isn't sharp enough, her teeth are a little crooked, the contours of her face aren't smooth enough, her hairstyle isn't nice, and judging from her height, her skin doesn't seem to match up to that of a boy. In summary, the threat level of this poached egg girl is 0. Lu Benlai, who had already placed his order, didn't forget to ask for the boss's opinion. Boss, do you think these are enough? Hearing those words, Lin Jiej retracted his gaze from Shuyao's table. Without even looking at the dishes that Lu Benlai had ordered, he nodded his head in acknowledgement. After the order was placed and the waiter left, Lu Benlai poured some iced sour plum soup for himself and Lin Jiej while asking, "Boss, why did you suddenly come here to eat crayfish? Don't you hate spicy food the most? Also, this shop is not eye-catching. How did you find it?" Lu Benlai asked a few more questions, but seeing that Lin Jiej wasn't responding to him at all, he couldn't help but raise his head to look at the latter. Lu Benlai noticed that Lin Jiej would glance toward the window from time to time. "Boss, why do you keep looking that way? Boss, why do you keep looking over there?" Out of pure curiosity, Lu Benlai muttered to himself as he sipped on his sour plum juice. At the same time, he also turned his gaze in Lin Jiej's direction. Then, Lu Benlai choked on the sour plum soup. He coughed a few times before he raised his hand and pointed at the table by the window. F***CK, 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 there really are beauties there. My wife, my wife, my wife. Lu Benlai was so agitated that the students at the 2 tables beside them turned to look at them. Lu Benlai frowned as he shot Lu Benlai a warning look. Lu Benlai hurriedly reined in his emotions and leaned his head closer to Lin Jiej and whispered, "Boss, it's really my wife." Chapter 267. I've seen shameless people before, but I've never seen someone as shameless as you. She probably doesn't even know your name. Lin Jiej shot a glance at Lu Benlai, but he couldn't be bothered to insult him. Paying no heed to Lin Jiej's disdainful gaze, Lu Benlai stroked his chin as he admired Leng Nuan's beauty for a while. Eventually, he couldn't help but praise, "My wife sure is beautiful. She brings light to this restaurant." Lin Jiej looked at Shuyao, who was stuffing crayfish into her mouth, and a frown appeared on his forehead. "What do you mean by, your wife brings light to this restaurant? It's clearly Soft Bun." However, Lin Jiej didn't hold it against Lu Benlai. Instead, he discreetly glanced at the group sitting opposite Shiryao. There were 3 girls and 2 boys, and one of them seemed to be a couple. From time to time, the boy would feed the girl some crayfish, and the girl would wipe his mouth from time to time. The 2 of them seemed to be very lovey-dovey. As for the other 3, there wasn't anything wrong with the girls, but as for the boy. Lin Jiej observed him for a moment, but he didn't notice anything wrong with him. The crayfish that Lu Benlai ordered was soon served. Lu Benlai first passed a pair of gloves to Lin Jiej before putting on his own gloves and digging in. It was only when Lu Benlai's plate was filled to the brim with crayfish shells that he realized that Lin Jiej's plate was still clean. He raised his head in bewilderment and asked, "Boss, why aren't you eating?" As he said those words, his gaze followed Lin Jiej's gaze to the window. Following which, Lu Benlai saw the young man sitting opposite Shiryao pass a plate of peeled prawns to her. The boy said something, but Shiryao raised her head and flashed him a radiant smile before taking the plate of crayfish and eating it. Without thinking too much into it, Lu Benlai turned to Lin Jiej and said, "Boss, that boy is actually peeling crayfish shells for little Junior." As the words left his mouth one by one, he could clearly feel the air around him becoming thinner. Lu Benlai hurriedly shut his mouth and changed the words he was about to say. But it's obvious that the boy isn't someone that a girl would like. He's probably just helping out as a classmate. As he spoke, Lu Benlai discreetly raised his eyes to assess the boy before him. His complexion didn't improve much, but it wasn't as frightening as before. He swiftly picked up a prawn and peeled the shell before placing the meat onto Lin Jiej's plate. Then, he began changing the topic. "Boss, have some prawns, have some prawns." As he spoke, Lu Benlai peeled a few more prawns and placed them on Lin Jiej's plate. Noticing that Lin Jiej's gaze was still a little cold, he added, "Boss, I believe that what little Junior wants is the prawns, not the person who peels them. Since you're so pretty, you must have high standards." "No, extremely high standards. I think, other than you, boss, the others must." Before Lu Benlai could finish his sentence, he had already subconsciously glanced at the window and fell silent. The male student who had just helped Shiryao peel another plate of prawns, but this time, he wasn't passing it to Shiryao but to Ling Wan. Lu Benlai widened his eyes in shock. Roughly 3 seconds later, he turned to Lin Jiej and bellowed furiously, "Too much. This is too much." Chapter 268. Is there something wrong with this man? After peeling prawns for little Junior, he peels prawns for my wife. Who cares about him peeling prawns? Amidst Lu Benlai's indignant roar, a few more peeled prawns appeared on the plate in front of the young man. Are you serious? He's still peeling prawns. Is he going to peel them for little Junior's sister or for my wife? Please, please, it's for little Junior, for little Junior. Before Lu Benlai could finish his third, for little Junior, he suddenly felt a chill rushing toward him. Shivering, he raised his head, only to see Lin Jiej shooting him a frosty gaze. Immediately, a smile blossomed on his face. Little Junior, my ass. Little Junior doesn't care about the prawns he peels. Lu Benlai, whose survival instincts were off the charts, forcefully twisted his words, and in the next second, he changed the topic. "Boss, we can't go on like this. We have to think of a way to stop him. You should know that the pavilion closest to the water enjoys moonlight first. He might look crooked, but his act of peeling prawns is very considerate. I've heard that it's very easy for girls to be moved by such small details." Lin Jiej stared at Lu Benlai in disbelief, thinking that he was spouting nonsense. "Are you sure that girls will be moved by such small details?" "I'm sure." Lu Benlai puffed out his chest confidently. "Just based on the 5 romance novels about domineering CEOs that I've been staying up all night to read, there's no way I'm wrong." Lin Jiej looked at Lu Benlai with disbelief in his eyes, as if he was looking at an idiot. Lu Benlai continued to defend himself. Boss, have you ever heard of the saying, know thyself and know thy enemy, and you will emerge victorious in every battle? The reason why I went to read novels about domineering CEOs is to understand the psychology of girls and learn what they're infatuated with so that I can better Wu Lingwan. Let me tell you, there's a lot to learn here. Some of the female leads are moved by the male lead's help to warm her tummy due to her period, and some of the female leads are moved by the male lead's piggyback because the heel of her shoe broke. Besides, boss, how can you be so sure that girls won't be moved by peeling prawns? Even though Lin Jiej wasn't that convinced, he was moved by Lu Benlai's final words. It was better to kill the wrong person than to let him go. With that thought in mind, he looked around and found a fat middle-aged man with a greasy face. He moved closer to him and said a few words in a low voice. The middle-aged man replied with an okay gesture before stuffing the prawn in his hand into his mouth. As he chewed on it, he walked over to Shi Yao's table. It didn't take long for the middle-aged man to walk up to the young man who was peeling the prawns for Shi Yao and Ling Wan. With a fawning smile on his face, he greeted the young man, darling. Then, he wrapped his arms around the young man and planted a kiss on the latter's face. At the same time, the middle-aged man said, "What a coincidence to meet you here. Do you know that ever since you left me that night, I've been thinking of you every single day?" The uncle didn't even give the boy a chance to speak. He even hugged the boy tightly. Lu Benlai could see with his own eyes how the people at the table looked at the young man, and their eyes were filled with shock and astonishment. When the uncle and the boy separated, the uncle accidentally knocked over the plate of prawns that the boy had peeled. Chapter 269. But boss, speaking of which, you sure are ruthless. You found a man to sever the girl's thoughts. After all, if you found a woman, they could still break up. Boss, you aren't just plucking peach blossoms, you're uprooting the peach tree. I'm impressed. I'm impressed. I'm impressed. Lu Benlai muttered to himself, praising Lin Jiej for a while before putting on his gloves and eating his prawns again. While eating, he didn't stop his mouth. It was a false alarm. I managed to escape death, and my wife isn't seduced by those bewitching cheese. From start to end, Lin Jiej's gaze was fixed on Shi Yao's table. After the middle-aged man left, the young man blabbered on and on with a reddened face, most likely trying to explain himself. The others were also chuckling. From the looks of it, they were saying that they believed him, but their eyes were filled with doubt. Seeing that his plan had worked, Lin Jiej retracted his gaze unhurriedly. He picked up the plum juice on the table, but just as he was about to drink it, he heard Lu Benlai's final words. He raised his eyes to look at Lu Benlai, and after a moment of contemplation, he said, "You're thinking too much." With a mouthful of prawns, Lu Benlai's words were a little slurred. What? Lin Jiej leisurely drank 2 mouthfuls of plum juice before continuing, "The girl you like has always been safe." Lu Benlai was even more dumbfounded. Lin Jiej leisurely put down the cup of plum juice and said calmly, "That's because Yao Yao is by her side." In other words, with soft bun around, how could a man possibly be interested in the girl you like? Lu Benlai was indignant. "How do you know that the young man isn't interested in my wife? Don't forget that the young man peeled prawns for my wife too." "Oh, so what?" Lin Jiej's voice was still as impassive as ever. "The first prawn that the young man peeled was for Yao Yao, not the girl you like." This. Lu Benlai only managed to utter a single word before he found himself at a loss for words. But Lin Jiej had no intention of letting the matter drop. Who knows, the young man might have been giving the girl you like some prawns to fawn on Yao Yao. Lu Benlai, Lin Jiej, also, the person of honor for this restaurant is Soft Bun. Lu Benlai, 10 whole seconds later, Lu Benlai finally spoke up, "Boss, you can insult me, but you can't insult my wife." Lin Jiej shot Lu Benlai a perplexed look and asked, "Am I insulting you?" "I'm telling the truth. The girl you like isn't as pretty as Soft Bun anyway." Lu Benlai. 10 seconds later, Lu Benlai finally spoke up with a stern look on his face, "Boss, you'll lose me if you continue like this." Lin Jiej nodded calmly and said, "Sure. We'll split the bill later." Lu Benlai. 10 seconds later, Lu Benlai's rage finally subsided. "Alright, boss. Just this once, just this once. I'll admit that little Junior has brought light to this restaurant. No matter what you say, in my heart, my wife is the most beautiful. This is called beauty is in the eye of the beholder." Lin Jiej's lips twitched, but he fell silent. Chapter 270. Before leaving, Lin Jiej didn't forget to pay the bill for the middle-aged man who had helped him earlier, and he even gave them the untouched crayfish that Lu Benlai had ordered as well. 3 days ago, Shi Yao's roommates had already arranged with a few of her close classmates to eat crayfish at the Taste of Home on the weekend. Had it been any other day, Shi Yao would have immediately started eating as soon as the food was served. But today, someone stopped Shi Yao and insisted on taking a photo to post on his Moments page. Under that person's lead, everyone else followed suit and took a photo to post on their Moments page. Shi Yao stared at the crayfish for a moment, but since she couldn't eat it, she had no choice but to take a photo and post it on her Moments page to divert her attention. After successfully posting it on her Moments page, she saw that her message to Expert of the Monkeys had received a reply, so she casually replied to Monkey before continuing to eat. She placed her phone on the table, and the page was her Moments page. While she was eating the crayfish, people kept replying to her Moments page. Out of curiosity, Shi Yao would take a look at the replies on her Moments page every once in a while. She didn't add many friends, so there weren't many replies either. Most of the replies were either saying that she was poisonous or that she really wanted to eat it. However, there was one particular reply that stood out from the rest. It was from less than 111,111, fat to 250. He's only fat to 250. His entire family is fat to 250. Shi Yao couldn't be bothered to bicker with Mr. Numbers, so she could only grumble at him inwardly before replying to Monkey's reply and continuing to eat. Shi Yao thought that given Mr. Numbers' cold and aloof personality, he would surely ignore her if she were to ignore him. But who could have thought that Mr. Numbers would actually appear on her Moments page once more? Less than 111,111, eating spicy food causes pimples to break out. She had the kind of milky skin that everyone envied, alright? She was born with fair and smooth skin. Shi Yao chose to ignore it once more. Less than 111,111, I'm speaking the truth. There's an even more terrifying truth. Do you want to hear it? Don't listen to it. Just as these words flashed across Shi Yao's mind, less than 111,111's reply appeared on her phone. It's one thing if you're fat, but if you have pimples all over your face. Shi Yao, who was in the midst of sipping on her coconut juice through her straw, choked on those words. In the first place, the reason why she drank the coconut juice was because it was spicy. Choking on it, the spiciness seeped into her nose, and the irritating sensation left her breathless. Unable to tolerate it any longer, she blocked less than 111,111 from seeing her Moments without a second thought. In truth, Shi Yao was thinking of unblocking less than 111,111 after eating the crayfish. But after they were done eating the crayfish, Tian suggested that they go shopping for Haagen-Dazs, and she had forgotten about the matter. By the time they returned to the academy, it was already 7 in the evening. Due to the hot weather, Shi Yao was drenched in sweat, so she took a bath and changed into her pajamas before picking up her phone and calling for everyone in the Sexy and Frisky group to play. Expert of the Monkeys was the first to speak up. Sis Yao, I'll only be able to play later. I'm still eating, so I haven't gone back yet. Juice, I'm reading a novel, and I'm about to finish the finale. Let's play after I'm done with it. After sending the message, Juice, less than 111,111, boss, aren't you playing the game? Bring Sis Yao along. The mention of Mr. Numbers from Juice reminded Shi Yao that she'd blocked Mr. Numbers' Moments page, and she still hadn't unblocked it. She instinctively wanted to find an excuse to hide from him, but a sentence suddenly popped up on her screen. Chapter 271. As soon as Juice mentioned Mr. Numbers, Shi Yao suddenly recalled that she'd blocked Mr. Numbers' Moments page, and she still hadn't unblocked it. She instinctively wanted to find an excuse to hide from him, but a message suddenly popped up on her screen. Less than 111,111, I'm afraid that I won't be able to squeeze into the server if I bring her along. Is he implying that I'm so fat that I can burst the server? How can there be someone with such a cheap mouth? Furthermore, I've already told him that I'm not fat anymore, so why does he still think that I'm fat? She was too busy eating crayfish in the afternoon to bother with him, but now, with such thoughts in mind, Shi Yao started typing on her screen angrily. The other party rolled his eyes at you and said that her legs might be even thinner than your arms. Less than 111,111. Are you treating your fingers as your legs? Whose fingers are thicker than their legs? Shi Yao grew even more furious. She lowered her head to look at her fair and slender fingers before turning to look at her fair and slender thighs. She couldn't help but feel an urge to crawl through her phone, appear before Mr. Numbers, and dazzle him until he's blind. Before Shi Yao could say anything, less than 111,111 had already sent another message. Other girls have slender hands, but yours. He intentionally paused halfway, and 2 seconds later, a new message popped up on the screen. Less than 111,111, Mountain of the Five Fingers. Expert of the Monkeys, boss, you're going overboard. Juice, that's right. Boss, how can you say that about Sis Yao? Tide, no wonder none of you have a girlfriend. I'm hugging my girlfriend, enjoying the air conditioner, eating watermelon, and watching Korean dramas. How blissful. Expert of the Monkeys, Scram, you lovey-dovey dog. Juice, so what if you have a girlfriend? It's something to brag about. With a girlfriend, you can ascend to the heavens. Shi Yao didn't respond to the other three. Instead, she stared at the Mountain of the Five Fingers sent by less than 111,111 for a while longer before reaching the end of her patience. She took out her phone, took a photo of her hand, and sent it to the WeChat group. While the photo was being sent, Shi Yao started typing, unphotoshopped. Taken by the iPhone's rear camera. After saying that, Shi Yao added 3 mocking smiley emojis at the end of the message and sent it over. Facts speak louder than words. No matter how despicable Mr. Numbers' mouth is, he can't beat a photo. Expert of the Monkeys, wow, these are the classic hands of a beautiful woman. It's Juice, sent a series of emoticons with red hearts in their eyes and salivating. Tide, good, good, good. Good. 111,111, did you steal it from the internet? What do you mean by stolen? She was a natural beauty. Did she need to steal pictures? Gritting her teeth, Shi Yao typed in 6 exclamation marks and sent it over. 111,111, but you're quite smart. You even knew to remove the watermark on other people's photos when you stole them. Where did the watermark come from? It was clearly her original work. Shi Yao couldn't be bothered to type anymore. Instead, she found a picture in her emoticons and sent it over. The caption on the picture was, who do you think you are? I don't want to talk to you anymore. Following which, Yao's phone rang. It was from her mother. Chapter 272. It just so happened that the Sexy and Frisky group had a new message at the top, so Yao clicked into it out of convenience. After sending that emoji, she picked up the call. Juice immediately popped up. Oh no, Sis Yao is angry. Expert of the monkeys, I'm angry too, the kind that can't be coaxed. Juice, you make it sound like I'm interested in coaxing you. Expert of the monkeys, you make it sound like I'm interested in you coaxing me. Yao took a quick glance at the conversation between Expert and Juice, and she couldn't help but shake her head helplessly. Didn't they say that I'm angry? How did it turn into a quarrel over whether I'm interested in you coaxing me or not? Have the two of them always been so unfocused? Yao scrolled down the long chat history, and she finally saw Juice and Expert returning to the main topic. Expert of the monkeys, Yao loves ice cream, Sis Yao, it can't be that you're really angry. That's just how our boss is. He didn't mean anything by it, so allow me to apologize on his behalf. Juice, Sis Yao, I'll share my most treasured book with you. Attached was a photo of a hardcover book titled A Billion Stars Can't Compare to You. Juice, it's a really good book, Sis Yao. I guarantee that you won't be unhappy after reading it, because it'll make you want to cry. Perhaps it was because she hadn't spoken for a long time, but everyone thought that she was really angry. In the end, Juice and Expert started criticizing Mr. Numbers. Surprisingly, Mr. Numbers didn't even utter a single word to refute the duo at all. Yao didn't speak in the Sexy and Frisky group anymore. After reading through the messages in the group, she returned to the main page and saw that less than 111,111 had sent her a private message. She clicked on it. Less than 111,111 ? Less than 111,111. Less than 111,111. 111,111. Are you really angry? The emoji that Yao had sent to the group was a densely packed pile of biscuits. After receiving no response from Mr. Numbers despite sending her several messages, he sent her the same emoji. However, there was an additional red circle on the "Which biscuit are you?" emoji, and within the circle was the largest biscuit in the pile. I'm this biscuit. In truth, Yao wasn't really angry. It was just a coincidence that her mother had suddenly called her. Seeing Mr. Numbers' reply, she couldn't help but burst into laughter before replying to Mr. Numbers, that photo is really my hand. 111,111, okay. Whatever you say. What did he mean by that? Yes, that's right. Just as Yao was about to emphasize her point once more, another notification popped up on the screen. 111,111, your hands are quite beautiful. It wasn't as if Mr. Numbers' mouth was hopelessly vile. He still knew how to speak human language. Just as this thought flashed across Yao's mind, yet another notification popped up on the screen. Less than 111,111, it's just that you look good, but you're useless. You're a lousy gamer. My face hurts. Yao touched her face as she typed on the screen, I'm starting to pity you. Less than 111,111, ? Chapter 273. Less than 111,111, Yao didn't bother trying to decipher the meaning behind Mr. Numbers' ellipsis. She continued typing. Yao loves ice cream, it would have been better if you hadn't mentioned it. Now that you mention it, I can't help but pity your parents. They must be worried that you'll be single forever. After sending this message, Shuryao didn't forget to send a sighing emoji to Mr. Numbers to express her current emotions. Less than 111,111, do you want to hear the truth? Yao loves ice cream, do you have a habit of lying? Less than 111,111, 111111, the truth is that you don't have to worry about me. I was already taken before I was even born. Ah. What does that mean? What do you mean by already been taken before you were even born? Shuryao pondered for a moment before replying. Could it be that you found yourself a girlfriend while you were still in your mother's womb? Less than 111,111, something like that. Ha. Shuryao, who was in the midst of drinking coconut juice, nearly choked to death upon seeing those words. I'm just making it up on the spot. How am I supposed to find a girlfriend while I'm in my mother's womb? Not to mention, the fetus in my mother's womb was just a little being. With such thoughts in mind, Shuryao began replying. The other party sent you a dry laugh and said that your joke was really cold. Less than 111,111, what I meant was that I really had a girlfriend while I was still in my mother's womb. It's just that I wasn't the one who found her, it was someone arranged for me by my family. Less than 111,111, to put it simply, I have a fiancé. Less than 111,111, so, you don't have to worry about whether I'll be single or not. I was born with a fiancé. Less than 111,111, not to mention, my fiancé has a great figure, and she's beautiful too. This seems to be the first time I've seen Mr. Numbers type so many words, but is my imagination playing tricks on me at the end of his sentence? Why do I feel a deep sense of superiority just by reading between the lines? Is there really something to be proud of? It's as if he's talking about how no one was born without a significant other, following which, Shuryao also began typing. What a coincidence. I had a fiancé before I was even born. Seeing how Mr. Numbers was acting all smug, Shuryao paused for a moment before adding, furthermore, my fiancé is super handsome, and he comes from a good family. 111,111, I didn't expect you to talk in your sleep even when you're awake. Who's talking in their sleep? What she said was clearly the truth. She already had a fiancé to begin with. Shuryao wrinkled her nose and said, whoever lies to you is a piece of spicy chicken. After saying those words, Shuryao sent Mr. Numbers a picture of a huge plate of spicy chicken. 111,111, alright, since you said so, I'll reluctantly believe you 111111, but I'm quite impressed that your fiancé can accept you. TSK, don't think that I don't know that he's mocking me for not being worthy of that secret fiancé of hers, Lin Jiej. Fine, what he said was indeed the truth. Lin Jiej didn't think much of her, and she didn't seem to be worthy of him. But, that didn't mean that she couldn't taunt him back. Shuryao pouted as her fingers flew across the screen. Same here. I'm also quite impressed by your fiancé. Her tolerance is top-notch, and her taste sure is unique. 111,111, it's the same. Your fiancé's tolerance is one of the best in the world, and his taste is equally unique. 111,111, speaking of which, I really pity your fiancé. Chapter 274. Less than 111,111, forget it, let's not talk about this anymore. Do you want to play a game? As soon as those words appeared on Shuryao's phone screen, Mr. Numbers immediately shared a game room with her. Shuryao was already interested in playing, so she couldn't be bothered to argue with Mr. Numbers anymore. She tapped on the room he shared and entered the game. While she was playing, Shuryao couldn't help but think about the conversation she had with Mr. Numbers earlier. She had always thought that it was a miraculous thing for her to be betrothed to someone at birth. Who could have thought that she would actually meet someone in the game? Since when did betrothal become so popular? But speaking of which, Mr. Numbers was still an old virgin. He had a fiancé, but he didn't sleep with his fiancé. Could there be something wrong with Mr. Numbers in that aspect? What am I thinking about? Realizing that her thoughts were tainted, Shiryao hurriedly shook her head, but a few seconds later, her thoughts drifted away once more. Mr. Numbers' mouth is so venomous, but his fiancé is actually able to tolerate it. Is there something wrong with her head? Lin Jiej leaned lazily against the back of his chair as his fingers slid across the screen filled with game pages, controlling the character in the game to jump around the spawn island. He looked perfectly normal on the surface, but his mind was filled with the conversation he had with Yao Loves Ice Cream earlier. Big White Chubby actually said that she had a fiancé. She must have made it up because he had a fiancé. After all, in this world, not anyone could have a significant other before they were even born. Besides, if she really had a fiancé, why wouldn't she be playing with her fiancé? Did she really think that he was that gullible? Furthermore, she even said that whoever lied to her was a piece of spicy chicken. He really couldn't imagine which piece of spicy chicken she was in the picture she sent him. Besides, if Big White Chubby really had a fiancé, why wouldn't her fiancé tell her to go on a diet when she was already so fat? If what she said was true, her fiancé must really be sick in the head. It didn't take long for the match to be completed. Shiryao quickly reined in her thoughts and focused on the game. Mr. Numbers was still leading her wherever she went. Of course, he was still as invincible as ever, carrying her wherever they went. Whenever they encountered a god, they would slay a god, and whenever they encountered a demon, they would slay a demon. Mr. Numbers would kill every single one of them, and she would get chicken dinners with 0 kills. Nevertheless, it wasn't as if she couldn't bump into anyone every time she landed so that she could experience the game. On the 5th round, Shiryao and less than 111,111 parachuted down to the ground, and they ran into another team. Then, a second after Shiryao's feet touched the ground, she was pummeled to death by the fists of the other two. How cruel! Not only did he turn into a box as soon as he landed, he was even beaten to death by the two of them. Shiryao's heart felt stifled for a second before she switched over to less than 111,111's vision. She had originally thought that since there were two of them and he was alone, he would avoid them and go to the nearby houses to pick up equipment and grow wretchedly. Who could have thought that Mr. Numbers would actually pick up a pistol from a random toilet by the roadside and chase after the two men who had just beaten her to death? There was a car nearby, so before Mr. Numbers could catch up, the two of them had already boarded the car and left. You're tuning in to the LoveLore Library YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.